Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
And a score!
You can run different offenses.
The doors on the board.
Off the field, on the field.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. On Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Yeah, welcome into the Thursday edition of Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode. Nick Keyser here with you on this Thursday morning. Hope everybody is doing well. Rexrode looking at his phone, realizing that he is exactly on time. I've never seen a person enter a radio show exactly on time the way you just did. It was beautiful. It was artful.
My phone says that I was early.
I know. Nick's
It's one of those
again.
days, huh? It's one of those days.
It's one of those days where Chase wants us to start the show at 3:45 a.m. and go until 9.
We should just broadcast a pre-show meeting sometime. That alone would be high entertainment for the people.
Yes, it would. Nick, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm good. It was a good first draft for the Robby and Rexrode Fantasy Football League last night. So pleasure to have everyone out last night. And yeah, it was nice to have the first overall pick in the snake draft.
Yeah, it's funny how that ended up working out that way. Nick gets the first overall pick in the Robby and Rexrode Fantasy League last night. And we had a good time out at Twin Peaks and Cool Springs. Appreciate them having us last night. And Joe, I like your team. I will say it's going to be, maybe you'll get in the playoffs this year. It'd be good.
You're taking a shot at me? Okay,
Yeah,
that's
just a little
fine. Yeah, okay. All right. Do you like my team? I don't really like my team that much.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah,
I think
okay.
it'll be good.
Yeah, the draft was fun though, and
It was.
I think Brennan's team's pretty crappy, so that's the main thing that we want to get done here.
Yeah, no question about that. The NFL back in action tonight. The defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Detroit Lions. Travis Kelce officially listed as questionable, so there's at least a chance that he's going to be in there tonight. But NFL back in action tonight, and then week 1 coming up this weekend. Titans going down to the Saints. But I'm interested to see how that game goes tonight. Anytime you can watch Patrick Mahomes, obviously that'll be fun. But, Sky Moore in that offense. Is Kadarius Toney going to just morph into this number 1 receiver with Kansas City since he's gone from the Giants to the Chiefs? He made some big plays for them in the postseason last year. And then, of course, can Travis Kelce play tonight? Going to be really interesting stuff. Chris Jones apparently hanging out at some community event earlier this week and doesn't look like he's playing and doesn't look like he's in all that much of a hurry to sign a contract either if they don't offer him the deal that he thinks that he's worth.
Yeah, and what does the huge Bosa deal, what does that do, if anything,
Yeah.
I mean, it probably at least it doesn't lower his price. I mean, he's not going to get more than Bosa. He shouldn't. He won't. But Bosa sets at a certain place, I guess, is there any effect on Chris Jones and how he looks at things?
Yeah, it's a great question. And obviously he's a huge part of that Kansas City defense. It's still Mahomes and it's Kelce and it's Andy Reid and it's everything that they've built there. And offensively, that's their bread and butter, and that's how they've been winning. But Chris Jones off of that defense makes that defense pretty average, Joe, probably at best an average defense without Chris Jones.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's the thing. I mean, he knows that. So and they know that too. I mean, over the last few years, with or without Chris Jones, pretty stark contrast. And I think that they've weakened a bit defensively. It's actually wild if you look at that team, because you just mentioned the receivers, and obviously we know Kelce is just incredible.
Yeah,
I mean, but Juju Smith-Schuster last year was a key guy, and I mean last year kind of did away with it. It's kind of like Brady, yeah, okay, whoever's out there, it'll work. But it's not on paper like a great team,
No.
I mean, it's just you got the quarterback, the coach, and on defense, I mean, he's the heartbeat of that defense. So I gotta think that they're gonna have to, figure this out really soon.
Well, then in here in about an hour on this program right here, we're going to get to some of our predictions in the NFL for this season. And I cannot wait to see what you say about the Detroit Lions, who have heavy expectations placed on them heading into tonight's matchup.
I filled my Lions mug today because I wanted to, pay tribute to them in some way.
Yes, I'm sure that you did. We'll get to that coming up in the 7:00 hour. Lots of NFL predictions to work through. We'll get to the Titans and the Jaguars and the division race coming up at 7:00. So looking forward to all that. Take your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. So, Joe, we've spent a lot of time this offseason talking about Tim Kelly and the change at offensive coordinator with Todd Downing out, Tim Kelly in. What's that offense going to look like on Sunday when they debut down in New Orleans? How much different will it be? Is the philosophy going to be all that much different in terms of, are the Titans going to become more of a passing team this year? Is Derrick Henry getting the ball less? If not, what does that look like in terms of how Derrick Henry is getting the ball, when he's getting the ball? PK was talking yesterday, like, could they replace, some first down Derrick Henry runs with maybe some third and short Derrick Henry runs, because you've differentiated your offense enough to where you're less predictable. It's really one of the fascinating stories when you start to think about the divisional race between the Titans and the Jags. There's so much that you could talk about, be that Trevor Lawrence or Ryan Tannehill or whatever it may be. I think a lot of the divisional race is also, Joe, going to come down to how good or not good Tim Kelly is at his job and what sort of an upgrade that's going to be for the Titans at offensive coordinator.
Yeah, and no doubt. I mean, look, Tim Kelly is the most important non-player, and I think it's always interesting when you try to compare like the impact or importance of coaches and players, even like the Belichick Brady debate, which I think is pretty one-sided now, but I don't think there's any doubt, Tim Kelly and how he's able to, well, I shouldn't say fix this offense because it's a new offense, but it is also, and that's one thing I learned in writing a 3,000 plus word piece on him for The Athletic that hits this morning, which is a lot about his family and personal life. But one thing that I kind of didn't really realize till talking to him is, yes, this is the quote unquote Patriots offense or the Texans offense, Bill O'Brien's offense, but it's definitely, he spent a year here last year seeing the run game. Now you have Justin Outen in, who is, of course, he was the Broncos OC last year, did not go well in Denver, but he's the, running backs coach and run game coordinator. Teams now have the run game coordinator and they have the pass game coordinator, and, like the word coordinator is thrown all over the place in the NFL. But it's the word hybrid, I think, is accurate. One thing he talked about was like his frustration with the Texans all those years of them feeling like they had the Titans beat. I mean, think about when he was there in the Vrabel era, when Tim Kelly was there, some of the Titans wins over the Texans, including that win with Byard and the fake punt, right?
Oh yeah.
So, but the theme with a lot of them, as we all know, with Derrick Henry, my God, he sees a Houston Texans helmet and the eyes get big, right? And so he wants that. He wanted to learn more about what the Titans are doing with their run game. And again, Justin Outen brings it in. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff all put together in this offense. It's going to be really, really interesting to see how it works. I mean, it still comes down to, are they going to block people? Are they going to execute plays, things like that? But Tim Kelly, if you really look at his history, it's not long in the league, but even the fact that Bill O'Brien gave him play calling in 2020, that was the first time Bill O'Brien had allowed any kind of offensive coordinator really for his team with the Texans, and I think Kelly was 33 at that time. So kind of tells you a little bit of how he has been viewed. And I think he did well in Houston. Certainly you look at Watson's numbers, and then even Davis Mills, your guy, his rookie year was actually,
love that guy.
Yeah. I mean, he, I mean, I'd say Tim Kelly kind of stretched his talent to a certain level that year. So, it's like there's a lot of promise to it, a lot of intrigue, and it's a huge key to this team.
So one of the things we brought up with Kuharski really early yesterday in the conversation that I think is really interesting, kind of putting it together with this Tim Kelly conversation, is does a different Titans offense necessarily mean more of a passing Titans offense? Like, how much different does that part of it look stylistically from a philosophical standpoint? Are they going to throw the ball more this year? Are they going to be a team that throws the ball maybe like some of these other teams do? Maybe not to the extent of obviously like a Mahomes that we'll see tonight, or Burrow in that offense, or some teams that look at their running game and say, yeah, it's just kind of optional. We know the Titans aren't going to do that when they've got Derrick Henry and Mike Vrabel as the head coach. But with Derrick Henry in the backfield, like the challenge of that, and Kuharski, I think, brought up this question really nicely. If you do throw the ball more, which I think a lot of people would welcome, does that limit the best way that Derrick Henry is healthy? Like, if Derrick Henry's not getting 20, 22, 24 carries in a game, and he's getting, I don't know, 15, 17, 18 carries in a game, does that limit the biggest strength of Derrick Henry, which is wearing down the opposing defense? And how do you kind of thread that needle if you're the Titans by maybe wanting to throw the ball a little bit more, but also wanting to maximize Derrick Henry while you still have him on your roster?
Yeah, all good questions. I asked basically like that question to him. Charles London comes to mind with that. I talked to Charles London too. Charles London is the QB coach. He's the pass game coordinator. He was with Tim Kelly going back to Penn State with Bill O'Brien. So there's a long history there. And the quote, I don't have it in front of me. We didn't get in the story, but basically what he said, like there could be a game here where we're gonna throw 40 times, or we're gonna run 40 times. And I know it's kind of cliche, like, well, whatever the defense gives you, but that's the idea. I don't think they can answer that question, basically, and that's what's interesting, because like you said, Derrick Henry has had that sort of need for usage, it seems, and I think there is truth that absolutely that he's a volume back, and that that has helped him be effective in a lot of those games. But I think if it's working, they could be more of a passing team. The last offense, as we've discussed ad nauseum, was not like an old crusty offense. It was just that they called runs a lot. It was this. It's the same basic offense that you see a lot of these high-powered offenses in the league, and that was the idea when Vrabel came in and Matt LaFleur, your best friend, came in.
Yes.
And that's really what they were doing until Henry demanded that, oh, wait, he's our best player. Yeah, got to get him the ball. So if he's still their best player this year, then I think it will look more like, I think it will continue like that. But I do think that the creativity and it's just trying to keep defenses off balance, things like that will be part of it. So I think Derrick Henry probably answers that question better than anybody. If he's still great, and maybe you can, like work smarter instead of work harder kind of thing, maybe a little less volume, have a little more balance, then I think that could be the sweet spot. But I think, a lot of this is going to be trial and error and seeing what's working.
We're off and running discussing Tim Kelly, the offensive coordinator for the Titans, who Joe Rexrode has called the most important non-Titans player for this season heading into this year. We'll take your thoughts on that. Take your thoughts on his impact. 615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. More on that next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5-106.3, The Game.
Nashville Sounds baseball lives on 94.9 The Fan. Catch every pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike three.
Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
We got a good thing growing at the Nashville Fair. We offer nightly music, wrestling, cultural arts, barnyard animals, dinner shows, games, competitions, classic fair foods, and thrilling rides. Join in and explore the fun at your Nashville Fair, the only fair in Nashville. From September 8th through the 17th at the Fairgrounds Nashville. Buy tickets online and save at nashfair.fun. Come on out and grow with us at the Nashville Fair.
We pride ourselves on being transparent, opening up the books, and sharing all the secrets of the diamond industry. We have a passion for this, and part of having a passion is sharing that passion.
Genesis Diamonds Vice President David Cooper says, at Genesis, you don't just get an entry-level course in diamonds, you get a PhD.
We love educating our customers, even over-educating our customers about diamonds and gemstones, so they can truly see the difference in what we offer.
At Genesis, diamonds are not a side business. It's their only business.
We eat, breathe, and sleep diamonds.
So whether you end up buying at Genesis or not, come for the education.
The better educated we can make you at Genesis Diamonds, the better a shopper you're going to be, whether you shop with us or anyone else. You will be able to tell the difference and know what you are buying, so you make the best decision for you.
Genesis Diamonds, proud to offer one of the largest selections of GIA certified diamonds in the nation, with no middleman markups, no retail pricing games, no commission salespeople, and no nonsense. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
At Mercedes-Benz of Music City, a healthy and productive culture takes a day-to-day discipline. Here's Sam Cavett, General Manager, with a few thoughts.
Mercedes-Benz has its standard, and we have Dream Motor Group standards. They're definitely on the same level, but I feel like we challenge ourselves at least as much as Mercedes-Benz challenges us. It's a genuine motivation to take care of customers, and we see it in the customer reviews.
Live the dream at Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
This is Nick Frazier here to tell you about my favorite sport booking casino, and that's BetUS.com. Football is back, and that means it's time to lay down your bets. BetUS is celebrating its 30th year of sport betting service with a special offer this football season. Up to 30 risk-free bets. It's called Bet Protect, and there's even more. BetUS.com offers the industry's biggest 125% sign-up bonus. Get Bet Protect and get started today by visiting BetUS.com or give them a call at 1-800-MY-BETUS. That's 1-800-6923887 to learn more about their bonuses and special offers. BetUS.com. Sportbook Casino, where the game begins.
Join the Nashville Area Chamber of Commerce at our office in Capitol View on Friday, September 8th for our upcoming open house, Pick Your Place. This event runs from 8:30 to 10:30 a.m., allowing you to come and go as your busy schedule allows. Utilize this unique opportunity to meet with chamber staff, introduce your business to members of the community, and explore the diverse engagement opportunities available to chamber members. Don't miss out on this fun and interactive event. Pick Your Place is free to attend, but registration is preferred. Time is running out. Register today at NashvilleChamber.com.
Want to see our smiling faces? You can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live. We are good to go. Presented by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode.
It's part of this nutritious breakfast.
Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What have you seen from Tim?
Hey, buddy. I haven't heard from you in a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
welcome back. Okay.
Oh, really? You sound surprised.
Has it been that long? I try to let cars get more questions. But yeah, what have you seen from Tim in this role?
I mean, since he's been here or I've been around Tim, there's been a great energy, a passion for teaching, a passion for explanation, finding new ways to teach, and that's been really cool seeing him and Justin and Charles work together, building plays, building terminology, building installation, and so hopefully it can all help our players. But I think Tim has a great relationship with the players, and he has the ability to push them, to challenge them, but also to teach them and explain to them.
That was Mike Vrabel yesterday at his press conference. A nice welcome back to the press conference for Joe Rexrode, who...
What's he talking about?
Apparently has been MIA. Vrabel was missing Rexrode, so it was good to see that Vrabel was in a jovial mood to see you yesterday.
I was sitting there after that talking with some of the other reporters. I was like, did I miss a press conference? I was like, I was at the last press conference and I asked a question at the last press conference, right? Yes, I'm pretty sure.
Were you there on Monday?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, no, that's right. Okay.
Oh, boy. Vrabel noticed. He
noticed. That's right. Taking attendance. Well, he's going to be mad when I can't make it over there today. That's too bad. I'm going to get demerits Gonna have to write on the chalkboard. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's good. I'm glad we could work out my inability to remember things here on the air.
Yep.
But other reporter like Jill Jelnick, and some of they were like, "Yeah, you were at the last." I'm like, "Yeah, right." But that's right. We were on the air Monday during the last press conference, weren't we?
That is correct.
Well, okay. Well, I'm sure Mike missed me. That's nice.
Well, he was probably listening to the Robby and Rexrode program in his office before he went out to the press conference, so he knew where you were. That's good.
Actually, he was probably had it in his earpiece, kind of trying to make sure to keep track of the show. That's why he seemed a little distracted when he was answering questions. Remember when we ran the presser?
He did. There's no question about that.
He was listening. Of course, then he would have been listening to us play his presser. That would have been really a mind melter.
Just a real curveball for him if he went that route. So good to see that he's keeping track of what you're doing. That was awesome. Yes.
Yeah.
Take your thoughts on Tim Kelly, 615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. So Rexrode called him the most important non-player for the Titans heading into this year. And Joe, I think I agree with that. Like, I think we know what Vrabel is. I think he's a good coach. Shane Bowen has done a good job as Titans defensive coordinator. Maybe if you ask somebody else, maybe Craig Aukerman is the most important non-player. Just depends on who it would be. But I mean, look, it's the offensive coordinator. The offense underwent a lot of changes this offseason from a personnel standpoint. I mean, I think in terms of non-players this year, I think it's clearly Tim Kelly. And that's the thing about the offensive coordinator that we've discussed a lot, Joe, is his work is going to be right there on display. Either the plays that he's calling are working or they're not, and fans react accordingly.
That is exactly right. It's the most scrutinized job in sports. It's the most easy job to scrutinize in sports. Excuse me. So he's been through that. One interesting thing about that you think about, and I do think about this, like with Todd Downing last year, for example. I think the big thing for people in that job, like whatever, they get criticism and all that stuff, and that's fine. But you think about the kids. The Kellys have 8 and 6-year-old right now daughters, Nora and Quinn, and this is when you start, when you start going to school and the kid's like, your dad called a bad play, Yeah. I mean, that's where I think it gets harder to do that job, or, you're more aware of like the outside world, because if it's going to mess with your family, then, and that's part of the reality. And I mean, I think back to Todd Downing and, like what he told police last year, for example, excuse me, after, when he got pulled over after the Green Bay game. But, that's part of the deal. It's just part of the thing when you get into this business, if you're going to rise to this level. And like you could always make the case Vrabel, I mean, how would the head coach not be the most important? But yeah, Vrabel, there's a consistency there. There's an he kind of know what you're going to get. And we've seen Vrabel, even though he's been very good for the Titans, we've seen some rising and falling that I think is tied, at least somewhat, not maybe as much as some people think, but somewhat to who his OC is. And look, Tim Kelly was the guy he tried to interview for this when he hired Todd Downing.
Right. Well, isn't this, though, from that standpoint, isn't it important for Vrabel that this works out and that Tim Kelly is a good offensive coordinator? Because, I mean, first off, you brought in LaFleur, and he was okay at best as Titans offensive coordinator, but I don't even know that bringing in LaFleur was completely his decision. Then Arthur Smith gets promoted internally, and then obviously Todd Downing is the next offensive coordinator, and that one doesn't work. So I think this is really important from the standpoint of Vrabel making hires offensively, and also not only making hires offensively, but going with guys that he knows, right? Like he knew Todd Downing because Todd Downing was here on the staff before he was elevated to offensive coordinator. So technically, Downing wasn't a quote unquote Vrabel guy, but he got elevated from being the tight ends coach when he was already here. Obviously, Arthur Smith was here, so Tim Kelly, a lot of Titans fans have said, well, why haven't you gone outside of your organization or your system or your circle of trust to bring in an offensive coordinator? And I don't know how much I really care about that. I mean, I care about the guy getting the job done, but I do think it's important that, after the Downing experiment went as poorly as it did, you need to rebound and make a good hire at the OC spot.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I'm like LaFleur, I believe, interviewed for this job, right? When Vrabel got it. So yeah, I looked at that hire as a John Robinson hire. Interesting with this situation. Charles London interviewed for this job and still came as QB coach, pass game coordinator. And one thing Charles told me is like a big reason he's here is because of Tim Kelly. I mean, they've been really close for a long time. So, he left Houston before Tim Kelly got elevated by Bill O'Brien. But there's another, well, frankly, I mean, Charles London could be, look, the reality of these jobs is that if the Titans go like 10-7 and their offense is turned around, like Tim Kelly will be interviewed for head coaching jobs this year. Like, make no mistake about it. And I think Tim Kelly is going to be a head coach in this league. And that's me guessing that he's going to have success because that's what it is, right? But I think there's a pretty good chance. So Charles London, the next OC might be here right now. I mean, it would kind of be and that's another guy Vrabel was with in Houston. Downing. So Smith and Downing were both here. Smith left over from the last staff, and Downing was new to Vrabel. So I don't know. What happened with Downing? Because basically so far that's the one that hasn't worked out. I think what happened is like the personnel went down. That's one big thing that happened. But still, I don't think anybody could look at that hire at this point and say it was a good hire. So I'm with you. I mean, it is important that this turns out to be good instincts. And again, this isn't just like fire Downing and who's around. This is the guy that I think, wanted to hire for this job back after the 2020 season, but the Texans would not let him go, even though they were firing their head coach.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would love to know, was that the plan back then? And obviously that, he's since brought him in there both as a passing game coordinator and an OC. Vrabel probably will not tell us that ever, but I would love to know, was the plan to hire Tim Kelly as OC back in 2020?
Yeah. I mean, look,
or I guess 2021 would be the actual date. Yeah,
exactly. Look, I mean, at that point, he had gotten they had gone down, obviously, and the DeAndre Hopkins trade's part of that, right? And all that stuff. But the actual offense and Deshaun Watson, his performance and all that stuff was really good. So, it's not just it's knowing someone, but it's also obviously being around their performance and being impressed. And again, with Bill O'Brien, I mean, I think that's a bigger endorsement just because Bill O'Brien was the Pats OC. He was the offense guy. He's basically the head coach OC guy, and for him to hand it off to him, I think is probably the biggest endorsement he's had.
We'll continue the conversation on the Titans, on Tim Kelly, and on one part of this offense that is really intriguing to me heading into this season that we've not talked a ton about this week. We'll get into that coming up next as well. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Tune in for Nashville Sounds Baseball today at 6:35 on 94.9 The Fan. Sounds taking on the Memphis Redbirds, the AAA affiliate of the St. Louis Cardinals. Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan, presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans and Family Leisure. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
New home. New energy. Same Blue Raiders.
99 yards! Touchdown, Middle Tennessee!
Catch every game for MTSU on 93.3 Classic Hits. Coach Rick Stockstill is poised to lead his team to yet another bowl appearance.
We're really excited about this opportunity.
Your home for the Blue Raiders is 93.3 Classic Hits and the Classic Hits app.
The Freaks on Parade Tour returns. Zombie, Cooper. Rob Zombie, Alice Cooper, together live. This Tuesday night, Bridgestone Arena, with special guests, Ministry and Filter. Tickets are on sale now at livenation.com. The Freaks on Parade Super Tour. Buy tickets at livenation.com.
The path to the PGA Tour runs through Middle Tennessee. The Simmons Bank Open returns September 14th through 17th as part of the Korn Ferry Tour Finals. Catch all the exciting golf action and still not miss a minute of your favorite team's game in the Arctic Tailgate Village. Swing by the Sand Trap and take your shot at the famous floating Guitar Island Green while grabbing a bite from Hattie B's, Hogwood Barbecue, Dream Burger, and wash it down with a cold fashion from Nelson's Greenbrier. Purchase your tickets now at SimmonsBankOpen.com.
This is Evan Bass for the Tennessee Men's Clinic. For most of us, sex is a big part of our relationship. So when something like erectile dysfunction starts affecting intimacy, it can be a real problem. But what you may not know is that ED doesn't just affect you, it can be tough on your partner as well. Plus, if you have ED, you know how it can make you feel. The truth is, we see a lot of guys who have depression, frustration, and even relationship issues because of ED. But we don't want ED to impact you or the one you love anymore. The Tennessee Men's Clinic tackles ED. Our urologists and medical providers take a comprehensive approach and have treated thousands of men with treatments that are successful in nearly 90% of cases. Even if your hormones are off, or if pills, wave therapy, or other treatments have left you hanging, the Tennessee Men's Clinic will work hard to help you get your sex life back, perhaps performing like you haven't in a long time. So call us. Your first appointment includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. We have 2 offices in Midtown and Franklin.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra, results vary.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
If it's important to Nashville,
I'll put it out right now.
It's important to Jared Stillman.
Like, that's it.
He's not afraid to ask the tough questions.
Something is going on, and the question is, what does it mean?
Or give the strong opinion.
And just needed the bozo offensive coordinator to stop ruining the quarterback.
Stillman and Company. Weekdays at 2 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Laura Rutledge from the SEC Network, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Check out their new luxury listing at 6551 Brownlee at tjandersonhomes.com. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by Superbook, live from our 102.5 The Game studio, brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. The best and worst things in sports coming up at 6:45. We'll take your submissions on that on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. So we are discussing the Titans offense, taking your thoughts on that. Ron on the text line says, good morning, guys. If Vrabel would have hired Bill O'Brien, we wouldn't have thought that we would not have had offensive issues as much. By the way, Dobbs beat Kyle in Madden game for a starting job. This from Ron on the text line. Going with the Bill O'Brien hire as OC, which we actually, at some point this offseason, Joe, we did talk about that with him going from Alabama, looking to get back in the NFL. We talked about the idea of bringing Bill O'Brien in. Obviously, he's ended up with the Patriots, but that would have been interesting after Bill O'Brien was the head coach and Vrabel was on his staff.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not like it's some crazy idea. Obviously, those guys together, I think they have a good relationship. I'm trying to remember the exact O'Brien, like a rival in Alabama and everything. Was he there in both 21 and 22?
I believe so.
Yeah. Okay. So basically he was at Alabama those 2 years O'Brien's an interesting case. Even like the Penn State thing, just going to Penn State for a couple of years, but like actually it was pretty incredible what he did at Penn State, So I kind of thought maybe like, does he want to get back into college head coaching again? But, again, that's such a different job now than it was 10 years ago when he went to Penn State. So, but yeah, I mean, O'Brien would have been, certainly a good hire. I think it's a good move for Belichick to get an actual OC to be OC.
Yeah, it's amazing how that might work out. Joe, there's an interesting part of this Titans offense that I'll be looking for on Sunday, and I'm really, throughout the course of the season, am interested to see how it plays out. So much attention is going to be on Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill and DeAndre Hopkins and Treylon Burks and all those things. But Chig Okonkwo, not only from a production standpoint in the passing game, which I'm interested to see what he can do with the ball in his hands, because he showed a lot of really good flashes last year, but also like from a snap count standpoint, from a situation standpoint, how much growth has there been with Chig Okonkwo, and how much more willing are the Titans to put him out there, even though it may not be perfect in terms of, running the ball, blocking, all those things. Like we talked about the snap percentage that he played last year. I think it was somewhere in like the low 30s that Chig Okonkwo was out there last year from a snap percentage offensively. What does that look like this year? Obviously, your tight end room is a little bit different. You got Wesco in there as kind of your blocking tight end right now. Josh Wiley, who's a rookie, and quite frankly, I didn't think had a great preseason, is your third tight end at the moment. Obviously, they've got a couple other options on the practice squad that they can handle and they can call up throughout the season. But Okonkwo, how often is he on the field? How do the Titans use him? How do the Titans find creative ways to get him the ball? Going to be really interesting this year, and I think a big part of what they do offensively.
Yeah, look, I think a lot more, and it's not. Yeah, I would say like he didn't have like this preseason,
Right.
It's interesting. Even like going back to the spring, it was kind of like I want to say maybe we were talking to TD about this, but it's kind of like, he thought maybe get the ball a little bit more or whatever. I mean, he's gonna be heavily involved for sure. He's gonna be on the field a lot for sure. Like you said, the tight end situation. I mean, you're gonna see a lot of Trevon Wesco because he's the quote unquote blocking tight end, but also like, I think like, the H-back look, in certain situations, kind of like taking over that fullback spot. So he'll be out there a lot. Like you said, Wiley, I don't know. I mean, I think the makeup of the roster tells you, that he's going to have a pretty significant role too, but it also tells you that Chig must have a key role. So I know there's been a huge emphasis on blocking with him. I think we've all seen what he can do in the pass game. And we've talked some about this before, but definitely I think trying to get some matchups and some big shots to him could be possible this year too. So he's one of those guys. There's been so much focus on the receivers, and then it's like Kyle Phillips gets hurt, and Tyjae Spears is and obviously if Derrick Henry, you kind of forget about Chig, but I've seen him go in some fantasy drafts. He went last night at some point, didn't he?
Yeah, I took him.
You took him. Well, there you go, you homer. All right. Well, yeah. Good job. Yeah, you took all Titans and Packers, didn't you?
I did. Looking
pretty
forward
much.
to the team.
But it's like, I mean, it's like from the fantasy perspective, because everybody's having their drafts now, or probably, I guess most people would have them done by now. But it's like, I think he's worth a flyer. But I don't know. It's like just so much of this offense. I think it's a big guessing game with production and usage and things like that with a lot of guys. But I'm sure it'll be like 1 week Chig has like 8 catches for 93 yards and 2 touchdowns or something, and then 1 week he has like 2 catches for 23 yards. I'm sure,
right.
I'm sure there'll be some ups and downs.
Ethan from Lawrenceburg on the text line says, unfortunately, I don't think the offensive line is good enough to let the tight end not chip on every play. This from Ethan from Lawrenceburg. Somehow we always end up back to the offensive line, which I totally get
Fair
in
point.
The offensive discussion.
Yeah, that's a totally fair point. How much are they going to ask the tight ends to help a little bit, even if it's not staying, chip, because that makes a big difference. That limits what you can do, obviously, as a player going out into a pass pattern. And again, I think that's going to be some trial and error too, right? I mean, it's like you're going to have to, Tim Kelly and his staff, they can draw up everything and have a great plan and all that, but like they have to watch and see like Dillard try to block somebody and Hubbard try to block somebody, and then you have to adjust to that. And yeah, if they don't like what they see, then yeah, I think you're going to absolutely hamstring the offense a little bit.
It is interesting though, because we've talked a lot about Spears heading into the year, about different things you can do with him. You can give him the ball in the backfield, you can line him up in the slot, you can do all those things. Like I think you can line Okonkwo up in different spots too. Like he's an inline tight end, obviously, but I think you can line him up, maybe not even necessarily out wide, but in the slot every now and then too. Like I think he's quick enough where you can do different things with Okonkwo, and I'm interested to see how the Titans may go about doing that this year.
Oh, and I think we'll definitely see that. Yeah. No, he's absolutely, I don't know if hybrid's the right word, but he's definitely one of those guys who can go out there, detach and act as another receiver. So yeah, I think you'll see him move around. I mean, I don't know. Are we going to see some more tight end arounds? I don't know. I don't know that we won't. I don't know. Ideally not on a 3rd and 1 at a key moment late in the fourth quarter of a game. But hey, the thing is, if that play works, then we're singing the praises.
Yeah, the coach is a genius if that play works. And maybe you just didn't get the right look, Rexrode. Maybe it's on the quarterback. Should have checked out of it. Who knows?
Maybe. Speaking of that, I asked Tannehill about that yesterday, and he didn't really. Tannehill's good about not saying anything about schematics.
He is.
But that's one thing I learned about this offense for sure. And I guess, you could think about like the Brady Patriots, right? Yeah. And sort of like how Brady would control the game, not just play well, but Tannehill has way more on his shoulders this year in terms of the way this offense works. The protections are him. And the protections before, at least some of them, it is my understanding, like Ben Jones would call some things that now Tannehill will call. Also, the Shanahan offense is, in general, and it's always like, everybody does different things with stuff, but in general, it was kind of like you have a play you can check into, right? Well, Tannehill, like this offense and like the Brady offense is like, you can just go up there and say, oh no, let's run this. There's more freedom to just totally control the game based on what you see pre-snap. Whereas Shanahan was a little bit more, I guess you would say, quarterback friendly, because it was like, it's either this or this. Okay. If that makes sense. So, and look, I'll tell you this, I'm talking to Tim Kelly. I mean, he's very excited about what Tannehill has done to know the offense. This shouldn't surprise anyone, except that some people just think Tannehill sucks. Right. But
yeah,
I mean, he's got the offense absorbed. And I think that if that's going to help dictate success, like your quarterback pre-snap, your quarterback knowing the defense and knowing everything, that's good for the Titans. I think Tannehill will be very good at that stuff.
So as we know, week 1 is ripe for overreaction from fan bases, both in the college game and in the pro game. What do you think the Titans fan base reaction is if the offense goes out there and looks great on Sunday? And let's say they put up 35 points and they look awesome. And then what do you think the fan base's reaction is if the offense looks like it looked like last year and they put up 13 points and they can't get anything done in the second half? We could be in for a doozy of a show on Monday.
Yeah. Well, to me, if you're a glass half empty person, then the second thing is, oh my gosh, this OC hire is terrible too. Vrabel, what's wrong with Vrabel? The other thing is, oh my God, we're going to lose Tim Kelly after this year. Oh my God.
Well, hope you enjoy him.
Yeah. God, is someone going to hire him away after week 8 to be their head coach?
615-737-1025, our phone number. Coming up next, it's time for the best and worst things in sports. We'll take your submissions on that on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. We'll do that next. Make sure you tune in to 93.3 Classic Hits this Saturday for MTSU football. The Blue Raiders kick off at 6 o'clock on the road against Missouri. Pregame beginning at 5 o'clock. You can hear all the coverage on the 93.3 Classic app and at 93.3classichits.com. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Green
right, Fox 2, run, double K.
He takes you inside the huddle through the eyes of a quarterback.
Wide 85, take!
Catch ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck every Tuesday at noon as he breaks down the big stories in the NFL.
Buffalo, maybe Miami.
And with the Tennessee Titans.
The Titans might be like, we're interested in a one-year, $1 million contract.
Tim Hasselbeck is on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey home buyers, TJ Anderson here. Are you looking for a luxury home on over an acre, 7 bedrooms, 9 bathrooms, and close to 7,000 square feet? 6551 Brownlee Drive in Nashville's Westmead neighborhood offers that and a 4th car garage, all by an award-winning builder. Text the number 1 to 615-420-2377 for pricing and info. Want your home on the radio? Google TJ Anderson Homes and see why we are referred by clients so often. TJ Anderson Homes at Benchmark Realty, office number 615-432-2919.
Hey, this is the Fat Jack, and the NFL kicks off this week. Did you bet on the games last week? How did you do? My clients and I won in every sport last Saturday. Free baseball, UFC, and of course football, all making money for myself and my clients. Go to FatJackSports.com before the NFL season gets underway and make money with quality selections. Text to your cell phone or email to you that will get you into profit this weekend. Discipline and consistent winning selections will turn a profit for you. Go to FatJackSports.com to win.
Vanderbilt Commodore fans, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, along with 94.9 The Fan, is your new home for broadcast of games and the Commodore Hour on Monday evenings. Catch all the action for football, men's and women's basketball, and baseball all season long. Go Doors!
Nashville, we have an important decision to make on September 14th. We can elect a mayor who's even more progressive than the liberals ruining Nashville for decades, or we can elect a mayor who understands that Nashville needs a new direction. Our failing schools, our massive tax hike, out-of-control crime, and excessive spending has got to stop. If not, we'll end up like all those progressive cities that are now total disasters. If you don't vote, we can't win. Vote Alice Rowley for mayor today. Paid for by Save Nashville. Tom Landstreet, Treasurer.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car really needs a wash.
The $20 McGuire's bundle includes Gold Class Car Wash for a showroom shine.
Get in zone.
And what about my tires?
Just spray the included Hot Shine tire coating and you're all set.
Get in zone.
The inside is not great.
No problem. The quick interior detailer in the bundle can help with that too.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Meet Bruce.
Hey there.
He's a busy soccer dad who's trying hard to learn the game.
Go for the end zone.
Whoops. Luckily, other things come easy, like banking with Chase. On a tip from his banker, he set up AutoSave in the Chase mobile app. So what are you saving for, Bruce?
Father-daughter soccer camp.
Smart bankers, convenient tools. One bank with the power of both. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
AutoSave requires a Chase checking and savings account. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
When you're rolling Charmin, ultra soft on the party. Less is more, so roll it back, everybody. Charmin's irresistibly soft and hella nice. The grip is always soft. It's our party vibe. It's cushioning clean, so our cheeks feel flat. So what? Everybody wanna touch the sky.
Charmin Ultra Soft is irresistibly soft and more absorbent, so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
He breaks down every game.
The players are still going to be fine.
And knows the ins and outs of the two-tone blue.
They deal with their own position coaches.
He is ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter Teron Davenport.
It's clear what he's doing.
TD joins every Monday at 1, Thursdays at 3, Friday mornings at 8, and anytime on the Talkin' with TD podcast.
I think that's really cool how he could show both sides.
TD is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is the worst.
No! This is Patrick! Everything is awesome!
What day is it, son? What day? Time to play till the whistle blows. See you on the field.
You can't win!
It is that time of the week, time for the best and worst things in sports here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll take your submissions as always on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Joe Rexrode, kick us off, as you do every week, with your best and worst things in the world of sports.
So unfair to you guys. I don't know how we got into this thing where I go first, but I'll take it. Yeah, the best thing is very, very easy. I mean, we're in an absolute football nirvana right now.
It's awesome.
Had a full slate of college games. It wasn't the best week one of college football I've ever seen, but still, I mean, there was a lot to love. And just even the scene at Nissan Stadium, with the Vols fans, the tailgate, I mean, it was very cool. And then to think we got some Chiefs Lions tonight. And then all the NFL games. I mean, I'm so pumped for, Saints, Titans. I think that's going to be a fascinating game. There's a bunch of them coming up this week. So, you think, but I mean, gosh, I feel like it wasn't that long ago. We were like, well, that's the last football we're going to see for a long time. So you got to, last night I took young Brennan to the fantasy draft and we were talking about high school football. I'm like, hey, man, like you got like 20 games to be able to play high school football or whatever, right? Like you got to cherish every single week of it. And that's what we must do too, as football lovers, to cherish this. Thank you. There's my little soapbox moment. Worst thing in sports for me, let's go back to the Vols at Nissan Stadium. Man, I heard Jared saying this was the dumbest controversy he's ever had on his show, and that was hilarious. And I gotta say, like, I still don't understand the slap in the face thing. And I know Charlie Burr. I like Charlie. Nothing personal, but I guess I need to go find. I guess he tried to explain it. Does anybody know what he says? That's what he said. Like I don't know. I gotta go find it. I guess
I need to go find it too.
But there was like,
I know what this is about. I know what it's about. It's about Levis over Hooker. That's what it's about.
And if that's the case, like you should never. I mean, that's just absurd. But also, just some of the even like at the risk of offending Vol Twitter even more, this whole like have some of that Titans fans when it was like like Vols fans like taunting or whatever because they filled the stadium or whatever. It's like just everybody calm down.
Now, Devin on the text line right now says, "Why is Jared salty about the Vols breaking the Titans attendance record?" This is from Devin on the text line.
Oh, was it? I didn't hear that. Yeah, but again, like even that, like the first tweet that started it by Withrow, which is fine, but it's like, when's the last time the Titans did this? I'm like, well, it was the Bengals playoff game. Like, absolutely. It wasn't exactly a college atmosphere, but it was an amazing atmosphere. And it was like 200 less people than were there Saturday. I mean, basically, I think it's because like the sidelines were just loaded with people. That's like the attendance difference from those two games. So whatever.
Tell Vrabel open up that sideline for God's sake, get people down there.
Yeah. By the way, Jill Jelnick is tagging Vrabel on tweets, trying to get a war started here, media and Vrabel. So I'm here for it.
We know Vrabel's listening right now. It's all good. It's all going to be okay. Rexrode and Vrabel's relationship repaired.
He's probably listening now, but he will also probably. I mean, he probably listens 2 or 3 times a day, don't you think? To the podcast too.
Yeah, no question.
Relives the whole thing.
Yeah, no question about that. Nick Keiser, your best and worst things in the world of sports.
Yeah, I got a couple of things for you guys, and I'm all about the fine details. And I think I brought this up last night at the draft, but as silly as it sounds, I like it personally, just myself, but I think the NFL recognizing rookies in their debut is cool. I think it really is, because most teams in most professional sports, they do hazing, they do, hot laps like they do in hockey. I mean, I couldn't think of really anything else that we see in any other sports. I mean, if you guys can think of one, let me know. But I think it's unique that the NFL has decided that it's your first game, you're going to wear a patch, and hey, that's a jersey that you can frame forever. It's something that you can always look back on, and it signifies it was my first game. And look, it's not like a little trophy that you get for playing in your first game. Like I said, you can frame this thing, and you will remember it forever. And so I think it's cool that they've gotten to do that. But yeah, I think that was the best thing I could think of for myself. But I am excited to see how many rookies do end up wearing it this season.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
So,
for those who missed it, the rookies on Sunday apparently wearing a patch honoring their first game coming up on Sunday. So looking forward to that.
Yeah. And then my worst thing, and this is more of just like it sucks to suck for this guy, but Duke quarterback Riley Leonard not getting a late pass to turn in his homework assignment. That just sucks for him. You know what? That just kind of sucks because, you know what?
I love that.
His linemen, they're the ones that turned in their homework on time before the game started. So I think it was completely warranted that his professor actually answered back, and he said, no, you don't get a free pass. Your other teammates turn it in on time. So sucks to suck, Riley. Better turn it in on time next time.
Jeez. That's hardball. That's how you know you're at Duke, Rexrode.
Oh, man.
Stuff at SEC, that quarterback gets as much time as he wants to turn that homework in.
Yeah, it was worth a shot. It was worth a shot. But like that, I thought that was at least funny. That could have been a best too.
Yeah, it's pretty good. All right, my best thing in sports, I'll keep it pretty simple. Titans back in action this week. The Green Bay Packers back in action this week. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because people don't care. But let me send out a nice warning to the Chicago Bears and their fan base.
Oh, yeah.
You better hope to God you win this game on Sunday. Because if you don't, and Jordan Love comes in there and beats you after all of the talking that's going on this offseason, I'm going to be the most insufferable human being alive next week. So I'm not going to say too much about it because I know people around here don't really care all that much. So I get it. But let me just go ahead and say, you better hope if you're a Chicago Bears fan that they win that game on Sunday, because if not, I am going to be insufferable next week. It's been building inside of me for 3 months, Rexrode.
Man, I mean, I can't wait for the whatever happens with this game. Corey Curtis calling in on Monday. Must listen radio right there.
Yes, it's going to be outstanding. My worst thing in sports, and Joe, we'll probably get to this a little bit later in the show too, but Sando came out yesterday with, I guess, a ranking of the AFC teams, and I took a look at it, and it's from executives and people involved in the NFL. And the Titans in that ranking, Joe, are ranked 13 out of 16 AFC teams. So we talk about the media maybe not giving the Titans the respect that we think that they deserve heading into the year. But apparently the view around the NFL as a whole is the Titans aren't going to be very good this year. And NFL executives and people in front offices have the Titans ranked 13 out of 16 in the preseason poll.
You know what? Maybe the Titans will stink and we will just be total idiot homers this year.
Maybe.
You know, but yeah,
everybody seems to think they're just going to be trash this year.
Yeah, I gotta say, I mean, there's a consistency here, and it's not like one or two people, you know. So hey, I mean, I think Tannehill is the common denominator, but it really is amazing. I wanted to really quick say, Megan, that they don't show the band enough as a worst in sports. I appreciate that.
Yes, I do too.
That's a unique one. And also Zach points out that Twin Peaks, great date night spot. I don't know if that's a best in sports or if he's just telling us that, but thank you, Zach. It was good to see you last night, buddy.
Yeah, it was good to see you.
Zach was still there like long after we all left by himself with like 7 drafts going on at
Zach
once.
had 19 fantasy drafts going on last night. It's good stuff. 615-737-1025, our phone number. We'll continue to take your best and worst things in sports all show long. Coming up next, Joe, football season officially here. The NFL kicks off today. It's time to make some predictions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
We're going to do it next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Every day we are live and local.
You need to give Ryan Tannehill a 2-year extension.
There haven't been too many coaching changes for the Predators. And your source for Nashville sports.
I think that's what the Titans need.
Players who can score. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and The Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey, it's Chad Withrow to tell you about my favorite sportsbook and casino, BetUS.com. Football is back, and it's time to lay down your bets. I only endorse one sportsbook, and that's BetUS.com. BetUS is celebrating its 30th year of sports betting service with a special offer of up to 30 risk-free bets. That's right, up to 30 risk-free bets. It's called Bet Protect. BetUS.com also offers 125% sign-up bonus. Get started by visiting BetUS.com or calling 1-800-MY-BETUS to learn more. BetUS.com, sportsbook and casino, where the game begins.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack.
You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Now, your Game Center update.
This is Nick Keiser. The Tennessee Titans are set to leave for New Orleans to begin the 2023 season. How does quarterback Ryan Tannehill feel about his confidence in the offensive line with some new faces part of the team?
Whenever you have some clean pockets, you start stacking clean pockets and are able to throw and be on your 2 feet and not get knocked down or hit and tackled or sacked, then that confidence grows in the offensive line that you're going to have a time to get the ball off cleanly.
And the NFL is set to kick off tonight at 7:20 between the Detroit Lions and the Kansas City Chiefs with the broadcast on NBC. NFL Network insider Tom Pelissero says tight end Travis Kelce will be put through a workout to see how his hyperextended knee feels prior to the matchup. And stay tuned for Yahoo Sports' Charles Robinson as he's set to visit for his weekly visit at 8 a.m. on Robby and Rexrode. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 1025 and 1063.
79-52 Vanderbilt.
I think he's got a coach
shot by Cheryl.
You're going to see more moves. The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. On Nashville's best sports talk. 1025 and 1063 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it's showtime.
Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Nick Keiser here with you on this Thursday morning. Robby and Rexrode presented by TJ Anderson Homes and Benchmark Realty, helping home buyers and sellers in Middle Tennessee for the past 20 years. We're taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines. Joe, the NFL kicks off today. The Kansas City Chiefs, the Detroit Lions tonight in prime time. One of many prime time games, I'm sure, in the future for the Lions this season. So looking forward to that. But that means it's time to make some predictions. The NFL season kicks off today, and it's time to throw it all out there and see how smart we end up being at the end of the season, Joe Rexrode. Are you ready to go division by division and ultimately get to some playoff and Super Bowl picks as well, Joe Rexrode?
I am. Now, I have division winners, wild cards. I also did the conference title games, but I don't know that we did that. That was just a little extra. You can
I have division winners and wild cards too, so that's good.
But I have the conference title games also, and then we have our Super Bowl winners, right? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you want me to start?
Well, let's go division by division, and let's start with the AFC North. Because I think it's going to be really fascinating this year. Who do you have in the AFC North?
Yeah, I've got to go with the Bengals. And it looks like Burrow's good, right? Burrow's gonna be good this week. Starting
he said
right
he's
out
good
here.
to go. Yep.
Yeah. So he's got to go with Burrow and the Bengals and Chase. Good all around team. But I'm with you. I think that this division is, in a better way. In the AFC North, I can make a case. I really can for all four. So I hope Junie's listening. I actually do think the Steelers are going to be really interesting this year. In the NFC North, you can do the same thing, but it's just a poopy division. But this is a good division. Kind of like the AFC. Yeah, sorry, man. But I got to go with Bengals.
I'm also going with Cincinnati. I think it's going to be the best division in football this year. Everybody's talking about the AFC East with the Jets and the Bills and the Dolphins and all that. and I think it's going to be good. But I think the AFC North is going to be the best division in football this year. I guess I'm the most down on the Browns in that division just because they're the Browns, and you never quite know what's going to happen there. But even them, I think, could be pretty good this year.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati is going to have a really good year. I love the offense with Chase and Burrow and Mixon, and obviously with T. Higgins as well. And I think Cincinnati ends up getting it done. They win that division. What about the AFC East, Joe Rexrode?
So I think you and I are probably going to be a little different here, and I feel like I got to look at how this breaks down with other people, but I'm going Bills.
Okay.
I still think the Bills are really good, and I feel like obviously the Jets dominate the discussion, and I understand why. And the Dolphins, I'm super intrigued by the Dolphins. I think they could be amazing. I just can't trust. I can't trust to his health. And I hate saying it. Everybody says that, but like, how do you at this point, you know? And obviously you lose him and things change drastically. I think their defense is a lot better, but look, I think the Bills are still that team. Are still a really good team. I think the whole Diggs thing will fade away with some wins and he'll get the ball and they'll be really good. So give me the Bills in a great race. And that is a heck of a division too.
This time a year ago on this day, when we were making predictions heading into the year, you would be hard pressed around the league to not find somebody that picked the Bills to win the division and to find, look, Bills were, I think, by far the most popular Super Bowl pick a year ago. And obviously
they were mine.
Yeah, I'm going 17-0.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. They were the heavy favorite last year. And it's really not the case this year. There are people picking the Bills, but there's a lot of Jets talk, a lot of Dolphins talk, all those things. I actually have Buffalo as well. I have Buffalo winning this division. And the reason is, Joe, first off, I think Josh Allen is going to turn the ball over less this year. That was a problem last year. And I still love their defense. I still think Buffalo has a really good defense. And Josh Allen, I think, has a bounce back year. Diggs, I agree. That situation is going to be put behind them. And I just think Buffalo, at the end of the day, with the experience that they have and the talented roster that I still think they have, I think they end up winning the division. But I do think it's close. I think the Jets are going to be right there with them. I think the Dolphins are going to have a good season. The Patriots, I give no chance of winning this division. But I think Buffalo ends up getting it done. I'll start us off on the AFC West. Do we have to spend a lot of time on this one? I'm going Kansas City to win the AFC West. I'm not a believer in the LA Chargers. And until the LA Chargers prove me otherwise, I will continue to not be a believer in the Chargers. So give me Kansas City to win that division yet again.
Yeah, I think that's an easy one. Chiefs as well. Like we were saying earlier in the show, it is interesting when you look at the Chiefs. You take Chris Jones off the defense, and we'll see it tonight. Look, as much as I like to rip on the Lions have a good offensive line. They have a good quarterback, some good skill. They have an offense that I think will do pretty well this year. Good OC and Ben Johnson. We're going to see tonight the Chiefs without Chris Jones. It is it's a very pedestrian group, but still, I'm going with Patty Mahomes and Andy Reid, man. They've got it figured out to such an extent on the other side of the ball that I don't know that they cruise to the division title, but I don't know how you could pick anybody else.
All right, so that takes us to the AFC South. In the AFC, Joe Rexrode, the Titans, the Jags, the Texans, the Colts. You go ahead and kick us off. Who do you have winning the AFC South this year?
The Jacksonville Jaguars, which my WHMR hat gets ripped away from me.
It does.
I have them one game better. Look, it'd be amazing if we could see Jags Titans for the whole thing there at the end in the stadium. If that's the case, I like the Titans' chances at home in a situation like that. And by the way, that stadium would be full. A lot of people are having takes on the stadium thing right now. But I go with the Jags. I go through their. I think they are. I think their offense is really good. I'm not with people who are picking them to push for the Super Bowl, be right there at the very top. I don't know that Trevor Lawrence is going to become like a top 3-4 QB in the league. If he does, this is an easy pick. But I think they're better than the Titans, and I think even with the first place schedule, I find 11 wins for them, so give me the Jags.
I also have Jacksonville, but let me tell you how I got there. I have them both at 11-6. I have the Jags at 11-6. I have the Titans at 11-6. And I went through about 3 tiebreakers before I got to the one that I think makes the difference, which is common opponent. So you go the tie-breaking procedure head to head. I got them both winning 1 against each other.
Right.
The win and loss percentage in games played within a division, I got them both at 5-1 in the division. And then there's the win and loss percentage based on common games. And that ends up being the difference. I've got the Jags 11-3 against common opponents for the Titans. The Titans are 9-5. Jags losses I have are Kansas City, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, San Francisco, Cincinnati, and 1 game to the Titans. And obviously the Titans don't play Kansas City and Buffalo. They don't play San Francisco. And I just think that both teams are going to be in a dogfight right down to the end. I got them both going 11-6, Joe, but I have the Jags winning the division via tiebreaker. What do we think?
I mean, I hope Jared's listening and blushing at the work that you put into this pick, Robby.
Yes.
Yeah, wow. That's it makes sense. It makes sense to me. It's I think that's about what the Jags are, I mean, they're a 10-11 win team. They're not a 13 win team. I really don't think they are, they're not going to run away with this thing, but I'm with you. We agree. Do we agree on everything right now?
Yes, you do.
I think to this point now, here's where we'll probably differ a little bit. My 7 AFC playoff teams. Are you ready for this?
Yep.
I have Cincinnati as the number 1 seed. I think they're going to be great this year. I think this is going to be an explosive year for that offense. I got Cincinnati at 1. I got Kansas City at 2. I have Jacksonville at 3. Buffalo as the 4 seed in that division. I got the Titans as the first wild card at the number 5 seed. So everybody talks about how, like, if the Titans are going to get in the playoffs, the only path is winning the division. With that schedule this year, I think they could absolutely get a wild card spot. So I've got the Titans. That's the number 5 seed. The Jets at number 6, and the Miami Dolphins at number 7. Those are my playoff teams.
So there's the one place where we differ. I have the Titans also 10-7 as a wild card team. I have the Jets also as a wild card team. My last, although actually I have them as my first, but is the Baltimore Ravens get in for me, which means, first of all, that means both of us are leaving out Chargers, Browns, Steelers, not to mention Raiders, Pats. I got the Dolphins out, and that is just purely hesitation about Tua being able to get through a whole season. So I have the Ravens in their place. But other than that, man, we are frighteningly close.
Well, I think all those teams, like the Dolphins, the Jets, the Ravens, the Steelers, like I think they're all going to be right there together. Like I don't think there's going to be very much. So I think this playoff race in the AFC this year is going to be really fascinating, like right down to the last week, not only in terms of who's winning the division, but like who's getting in the playoffs. I think there are going to be a lot of teams in that last week that have a chance to grab a wild card spot.
No, it's an NFL dream, the way that the AFC playoff picture is going to. And the thing is, like, those teams that, like at the bottom too, like the Pats will still hang around. Yeah. Like it'll be wild, man. It is. I can't remember. I'm sure it's happened. And we certainly have had like terrible and amazing divisions. You think about the NFC East, what it used to be not long ago, what we thought the AFC West was last year when it wasn't. But I feel like this is an imbalance, which is kind of like the Western Conference of the NBA for so many years compared to the Eastern Conference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's just so much more quality to me on the AFC side. By the way, I just want to point out that Liam just said, that's it. I'm out. Good luck with all you new Jags fans at WJAX.
Todd in Jacksonville doing cartwheels right now. It's good stuff out there. I mean,
he should be afraid.
Neither one of us have the Chargers in the playoffs. That is not good news for Brandon Staley heading into this year.
Or maybe it is good news for him that we didn't pick him. Yeah, maybe he'll use this.
Maybe he will.
Put this in his 2-point conversion book.
That's right. We'll get to the NFC side of things, get to the playoff matchups and Super Bowl picks coming up next as well. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Vanderbilt football lives here.
This Saturday, it's Vandy at Wake Forest from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Kickoff at 10 a.m. Coverage starts at 8:30 a.m.
Your home for the Commodores is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Sounds fans, Jeff M. here at First Horizon Park with your Nashville Sounds update on 102.5 The Game and 94.9 The Fan. The Sounds continue their 6-game series against Memphis tonight, and they've taken the first 2. They're 10-4 against their rivals on the year after a 4-1 win last night. Evan McKendry turned in one of the more dominant outings by a Sound this year. He went 7 1/3, 1 run on 2 hits, and picking up his league-high 11th win. The Sounds were down a run in the bottom of the 5th inning when Abraham Toro moved along an on-base streak and gave the Sounds a lead they never gave back. Toro hits a line drive down the right field line. That's a base hit, a fair ball. Alex Claudio and Fernando Abad had scoreless relief work in back of McKendry, and the Sounds, with 16 games remaining in their season, have taken the first 2 in the series, and they remain 5.5 back of a playoff spot. Robert Gasser on the bump tonight. Pregame on 94.9 The Fan at 6:20, and the first pitch at 6:35. This is Jeff M. with your Sounds update on 102.5 The Game and 94.9 The Fan.
If you compare a diamond from Genesis Diamonds to one you find somewhere else, one thing will always stand out. The Genesis diamond is, well, prettier and more brilliant.
We will show you why our diamond's light performance is significantly greater than things you can get elsewhere.
Genesis Diamonds Vice President David Cooper.
Not just because of the color and the clarity, but because of things a certificate can't tell you. Because of the characteristics, the personality, the material.
It's the extra step in quality control that comes from an owner obsessed with perfection.
Our owner is incredibly picky when he buys diamonds, searching through hundreds just to get a handful. You will not see diamonds that have the fire at your average mall store or chain store or smaller independent, because they don't have the access worldwide like Genesis Diamonds does. Our diamonds' light performance, character, and explosive brilliance is bar none the best your money can buy.
Don't compromise with a diamond that just looks good on paper. Get a diamond that reflects your love in the best light possible.
This diamond has to be spectacular.
Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
The Electronic Express Labor Day sale is ending soon. Don't miss a TCL 65-inch 4K Roku TV, only $349, or an Acer Aspire laptop for only $479. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department: computers, appliances, 4K TVs, smart home, furniture and mattresses, and more. Get an Avanti laundry pair, just $379 each, or a Sony Bluetooth speaker for only $99. Get up to 5 years special financing throughout the entire store. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
AutoZone is more than a parts store. It's where we help you solve problems like, sorry I'm late, my battery died. And
I need a jump again.
At America's #1 battery destination, you can find the right battery at the right price with options starting at only $89.99. And we offer free battery testing and charging whenever you need it. Get the parts and help you need to get the job done right at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Anyone want to tell me what happened? Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Robby and Rexrode podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to thegamenashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Good morning. You're locked into Robby and Rexrode, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty.
I have the radio on. I'm listening to
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Sign up for Silly Underdog Picks for your chance to win weekly prizes. Make your picks today at thegamenashville.com or the 102.5 The Game app as week 1 of the NFL kicks off this weekend. Silly Underdog Picks presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket and Superbook Sports. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode. Streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by Superbook. We are live from our 102.5 The Game studio. Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Week 1 of the NFL kicking off tonight, making our season predictions. We've gone through the AFC. Both of us have Jacksonville winning the AFC South. Both of us have the Titans making the playoffs as a wild card team this year. So, Joe, we've gone through the AFC side of things. We've listed our AFC playoff teams. What about the NFC side of things? Let's start with the NFC South, who the Titans will be playing this year, and who they start playing on Sunday against New Orleans. Who do we have in the South?
Yeah, I'm going with their opponent Sunday. I'm going with the Saints. I don't think the Bucs are going to be bad. Panthers are pretty bad. I mean, I'm excited to watch Bryce Young. I think the Falcons would be the best contender with the Saints, but I don't know what Desmond Ridder is, and I got to go with Derek Carr's a good quarterback. That's an upgraded quarterback. The Andy Dalton argument from Jared won him Jared versus Joe yesterday.
I saw that.
Which, by the way, just really quick read Derek from Nolensville. Worst thing in sports, Jared getting a win in Jared versus Joe reminded me when Little League coaches give little Johnny a game ball because it was his turn that week. Thank you. Thank you, Derek. But I Derek Carr's an upgrade for sure. And they're older. I think they have the oldest roster. I believe that's right in the NFL.
Yep.
So, you got some guys, and like, what is Michael Thomas anymore? I don't know, but they got enough that I think they're going to win that division.
I think so too. I think the Saints win the division, and really it's by default. Like, I don't think the Saints are that good. I think they have good defense. I think they can make some plays on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, I like Derek Carr. I don't think Derek Carr is like some savior coming into the Saints where all of a sudden they're going 11-6 or something like that. But I think by default in that division, they're going to win. So I'll go with New Orleans. What about the NFC West, Joe Rexrode? Who do you have winning that division?
Yeah, I'm going with the Niners. It's still amazing to me to see that whole quarterback situation. Amazing to think a team could give 3 first-round picks for someone who can't get on the field at quarterback for them and could be in this position. But that's the position they're in. They're, to me, a Super Bowl contender, certainly in that NFC, and they're right there. So I got them winning that division convincingly.
I'm going to go with San Francisco, but I will say, watch out for Seattle. I like sneakily what they're doing there. I like some things that they've done on the defensive side of the ball. And that trio of receivers with DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Smith and Jigba, who they took in the first round, I think that could be pretty interesting. A lot of it comes down to Geno Smith. He had a great year last year. Can he follow that up? Is that what he is now? Was that a flash in the pan last year? But just keep an eye on the Seattle Seahawks. But I will go with San Francisco to win that division. So let's just go ahead and get to it. The NFC North. Who you got winning that division?
Minnesota Vikings. When it comes down to it, they got a good quarterback. To me, the best quarterback now in that division, not by a huge margin, but he's better than Goff. They got maybe the best receiver in the NFL this year. I mean, I think this might be the year that we're like, oh yeah, it's clearly Justin Jefferson.
He's the best receiver. Yeah.
And I mean, they're not great on defense, but they're solid. And I just think that they're the most reliable team. That division is absolutely wild. I mean, I can't remember that division being so hard to predict 1 through 4.
Yep, I agree. I think it's going to be really fascinating all year. I have the Detroit Lions winning the NFC North. I do. I think Jared Goff and the Lions are going to win the NFC North. I like some of the additions that they've made. I don't love their draft picks in terms of where they drafted them, but I do think Jahmyr Gibbs is a good player. So I think he's going to end up working out pretty well for the Lions there. But I have Dan Campbell and the mighty Detroit Lions winning the NFC North. Joe, your thoughts?
Well, you too, huh? A2 Robert. Yeah. Hey man, I get it. That they're the fun little shiny toy, but
a mighty team that will not yield.
Eighth best Super Bowl odds. 8th best in the league.
Amazing. Like 8th best Super Bowl odds. Like, when's the last time they were in the freaking playoffs at all? It's amazing how how that can, come out of nowhere and grip people, So, hey, good for them. They're enjoying this preseason hype. I think maybe tonight, but certainly within a few weeks, that hype train's going to slow down a little bit.
This was your chance to pick them. Like, if you don't pick them now, when are you ever going to pick them to win the division? You won't do it. This is it.
I mean, well, to answer that question, I probably need to see them do it about 5 times in a row, okay, to believe it'll happen. So, yeah, and in all seriousness, I don't think their defense is very good. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a heck of a receiver. I do like the Gibbs pick. Good offensive line. Like they're a solid team. They're a wild card contender. But yeah, these people talking about 11, 12 wins in Super Bowl stuff, that's just wild to me, man.
All right, the NFC East, which I don't think is going to be complicated, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to go with Philadelphia. I think you can make the argument that Philadelphia could be the best team in the league heading into this year. But I think Philadelphia, I like Dallas and what they bring to the table. Sam Howell, very interesting. We'll see how that goes. The Giants were good last year. Brian Daboll is a good coach, but I've got the Philadelphia Eagles winning the NFC East.
Long pause because I just can't believe you made that pick. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes,
yeah, I think the Eagles are an amazing team and might be looking at, the one thing about the Eagles, it's like you go into a season like this with the Titans. Well, we went into this last year saying this too. Sometimes when you have terrible health luck, you think, okay, it'll get better this year. They're bound to regress the other way. Although the Titans didn't. So after 2 years of that, we're waiting for that to happen. I mean, the Eagles did have amazing health luck last year. So
they did.
That is one thing to keep in mind. But they've got depth too. So, yeah, they're the easy pick for me.
So I'll go through the 7 NFC playoff teams. I got Philadelphia as the 1 seed, San Francisco at number 2 in the NFC, Detroit at number 3, the mighty Detroit Lions, New Orleans at 4 because of those are the division winners. Not necessarily, I think those are the 4 best teams. Dallas at number 5 as the first wild card spot. Seattle, who I mentioned earlier, at number 6, and the New York Giants at number 7 for the final playoff spot in the NFC. Joe Rexrode, your NFC playoff teams.
Yeah, so and I can see it real fast. Yeah, Eagles are definitely my 1 seed. Niners are my 2, Vikings 3, Saints 4. And then my wild card teams I've got the Cowboys in. Still think the Cowboys have enough on both sides of the ball to be a playoff team. I've got your Green Bay Packers in.
Yes, sir.
I think, I still think it's an all-around good team. And I think Jordan Love's going to be good. I don't think he's going to be great. But I think it's going to be like, okay, you can see it. I mean, Packers fans, as you know, as a spoiled Packers fan, are used to Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and it's not going to be that, but it's going to be good enough to get a wild card spot.
Won't be that the first year, but yeah, I'm with you.
Well, right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, eventually he'll get there, of course. And I got the Seahawks over the Giants and Lions as my last team in there. I'm with you. I like Seattle, and I just think the Giants this year, it was an incredible kind of honeymoon season for Brian Daboll, but I think a little bit of reality this year for the Giants.
So, Joe, let's quickly get to conference championship matchups and our Super Bowl predictions. You go first with your championship games in the AFC and NFC.
I got the Chiefs over the Jets. A little surprise run to the title game in the AFC. I've got the Eagles over the Vikings. Captain Kirk gets them close, but not quite there against the Eagles in the NFC.
Nice. I have Cincinnati over Kansas City in part 3 of that championship game matchup. Cincinnati will be at home this time, so I'm going Cincinnati over Kansas City in the AFC. In the NFC, the reverse of last year, San Francisco takes down Philadelphia in the NFC title game. So my Super Bowl matchup is the Bengals and the 49ers. And Joe, it's this year. It's the year for Cincinnati. Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals are my Super Bowl champion. They take down San Francisco in the Super Bowl coming up this year. Joe Burrow wins his first title.
Now that'd be ripe with storylines. They're bringing me back to my childhood. Win one for Kenny Anderson and Ickey Woods, and
that's right.
Those Bengals teams that couldn't beat Joe Montana in the Super Bowl. That I like that. That'd be
was that the Super Bowl where Montana was like talking about is the 2-minute drive to win the game, and Montana was talking about John Candy being in the stands.
The second one, yeah, which was the one that was Ickey Woods and Boomer at quarterback. Yes, that exactly. Hey, John Candy, yeah, all right. John Taylor. How about run for a touchdown on a 8-yard slant? All right,
Joe, your Super Bowl pick.
Yeah, I'm going. So, like I said, I've got Eagles. I've got a rematch too, but it's a Super Bowl, and this time I've got it flipping the other way. I've got the Eagles beating the Chiefs, getting that revenge on the team that got them last year, and really in a game that, I mean, the Eagles were close to like kind of putting the clamps down on that game, and they got away from them. But I think they're going to finish the job this year. The Eagles.
So you got Philadelphia winning the Super Bowl against Kansas City. I've got Cincinnati winning the Super Bowl against San Francisco. We'll take your thoughts on all of it. 615-737-1025. We'll continue to discuss the AFC playoff picture and what we think about that heading into the season coming up next as well. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063, The Game.
It's a long summer. But don't worry. Hockey will be back soon. You'll hear every slap shot, save, hit, and of course,
Knocked down in front, rebound, and the score!
On your home for Smashville, 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app. Is it October yet?
Hi, this is Al Smith, former All-Pro linebacker for the Houston Oilers and president of the NFL Alumni Tennessee chapter. As a former player, I've always focused on my health. Did you know that about 1 in every 3 people in the U.S. will have shingles in their lifetime? As we get older, our risk of having shingles and its serious complications increases. Getting the shingles vaccine is the only way to prevent shingles. So join me and gear up against shingles.
It's Raymond and Austin. We're back on All-Star Sports Radio. Celebrating their 30th year, our sportsbook and casino sponsor, BetUS.com, is going big.
That's right, Austin. Sports bettors can win a new truck, get the industry's biggest 125% sign-up bonus, and even get up to 30 risk-free bets.
Touchdown! BetUS also has a 150% casino sign-up bonus.
Blackjack, now you're talking, Austin. They also have live dealers and live betting on sports, including racetrack.
Get started today at BetUS.com, where the game begins.
Nashville Sports and Social, the most epic sports watching experience in town, is opening at the Mall at Green Hills tonight for the first NFL game of the season. Come check out the action. 102.5 The Game's Jared Stillman will be broadcasting live on location. Sports and Social features a massive state-of-the-art 33-foot LED screen, their world-famous menu, and signature curated cocktails. That's the grand opening of Sports and Social at the Mall at Green Hills tonight as the Super Bowl champion Chiefs take on the Detroit Lions.
Back in 1949, Dr. Houston began the tradition of treating athletes for common sports injuries. Today, the sports medicine physicians at Houston Clinic Orthopedics continue his legacy. Whether you play at school, in a league, on a professional team, or just enjoy being active, Houston Clinic Orthopedics physicians are there to help you stay in the game. Common sports injuries include tears, strains, sprains, and instabilities of the knee, shoulder, and ankle. Houston Clinic Orthopedics is located where you work and live. Visit tn.houston.com to book your appointment online. When experience matters, trust Houston Clinic Orthopedics.
Join the Nashville Area Chamber of Commerce at our office in Capitol View on Friday, September 8th for our upcoming open house, Pick Your Place. This event runs from 8:30 to 10:30 a.m., allowing you to come and go as your busy schedule allows. Utilize this unique opportunity to meet with chamber staff, introduce your business to members of the community, and explore the diverse engagement opportunities available to chamber members. Don't miss out on this fun and interactive event. Pick Your Place is free to attend, but registration is preferred. Time is running out. Register today at NashvilleChamber.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car really needs a wash.
The $20 McGuire's bundle includes Gold Class Car Wash for a showroom shine.
Get in zone. And what about my tires?
Just spray the included Hot Shine tire coating and you're all set.
Get in zone. The inside is not great.
No problem. The quick interior detailer in the bundle can help with that too.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Insightful discussion.
When we talk about the person that these players are.
3 goals scored in the first 5 minutes.
He wants to be the starter, day one.
Mixed with spirited debate.
Okay, but Derek, let's Professor Derek.
They are Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. With Caroline Fenton, Willie Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
We got the whole thing covered. We got it all covered.
Here.
Weekdays at 11 on 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, Trey Wingo here. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Nick Keyser here with you on this Thursday morning. I got some tickets to give away to see the Smashing Pumpkins at First Bank Amphitheater coming up tomorrow night. Be caller number 5, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Caller number 5 will win a pair of tickets to see Smashing Pumpkins at First Bank Amphitheater coming up tomorrow night, 615-737-1025. Also, make sure you tune in to 94.9 The Fan this Saturday at 11 a.m. for our college football game of the week, Colorado versus Nebraska, presented by Twin Peaks. Take your tailgate to Twin Peaks for scenic views for all the hottest non-conference games across the country. So, Joe, we've made our predictions in the NFL. The AFC playoff picture, which we've discussed, both of us have Jacksonville winning the division. Both of us have the Titans making the playoffs. I had Jacksonville and the Titans both at 11-6, so I've got it coming down to tiebreakers in the division this year. AFC playoff picture is really interesting. Now, the one thing I'll say is, everybody's looking at the AFC East this year and the AFC North, and we've talked about Denver and kind of what a wild card they are this year. What version of Russell Wilson do we see? The Raiders still have some good talent offensively. The Chargers, who neither one of us have making the playoffs this year, they got a loaded roster. They got a really good quarterback in Justin Herbert. So I think there's a good chance this comes down to the last week, and injury is going to play a big part of it this year. Who stays healthy, who doesn't. Neither one of us had the Jets winning the AFC East, which I think puts us a little bit different than a lot of people out there, both of us picking Buffalo. But this is going to be a really fascinating year for the playoff race in the AFC, because I think even by like week 16, week 17, week 18, there's only going to be a few teams, in my opinion, who are completely out of it. And I would include the Texans and the Colts for sure on that list.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it might be the whole list.
Maybe. Have we lost Rexrode? Did he unplug his microphone? That may be the first time in the history of this program that that's happened. An unplugged microphone, not even a mute from Rexrode. Rexrode, are you back?
What the heck, man? Like, I was just sitting there holding it and it just fell apart. Sorry about that. This is like the curse of the Lions. No, but like I Sean Payton and the Brown. I mean, ultimately, I still do feel like Sean Payton's a really good coach, really good offensive coach, and like there's still enough talent on that team to think that they could be competitive and be in some kind of a playoff race. I mean, the Patriots defense is still, I think, really good, and now you have O'Brien in there. It's not like Mac Jones has no ability at quarterback. I think people have kind of just discarded him, forgotten about him. But, last year was a bad year, but it was also just a weird situation for Belichick and his offense. So those are the two teams at the bottom, to me, of the list. A lot of people have the Titans more in that area, clearly based on, what we're seeing from a lot of other sources. But, yeah, I'm with you. I mean, it might be Colts, Texans, and 14 teams that are still alive well into December.
Joe, it's funny to me to ask this question because we both have the Titans making the playoffs. Neither one of us have them winning the division, but we both have them in the wild card spot in the playoffs. Are we being disrespectful to the Titans by not having them winning the division against Jacksonville? And it's funny to ask that question because I just got done talking about a few minutes ago a poll that Sando came out with at The Athletic yesterday, where executives around the league had the Titans ranked 13th out of 16 teams in the AFC.
Yeah, I mean, no, I'd say we're still pretty sunshiny compared to just about the rest of the league. Here and there, you'll see someone like who picks the Titans, but it's hard to find. So, yeah, some people are mad on the text line though about picking the Jags. And look, someone made the point. Well, you guys think they're like this great team or whatever? Nah, again, I think they're really good. I mean, I think they're a really good team that kind of figured some things out last year, and once it flipped for them, which a big part of that was winning here, right? That second half here against a team that was all kinds of mixed up. Then I thought that you think about the win over the Cowboys, think about the win over the Chargers. They've had their ups and downs. I think they're good. They're very good. And I think that they have the best quarterback in the division. And look, I mean, ultimately, to me, that's almost like a tiebreaker and things like this. I mean, it's like Burrow and the Bengals in the AFC North. I mean, I think they're the better team anyway, but like he makes it clear to me. And I think Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback. The question I have is he just the best quarterback in this division, or is he actually going to be one of the best in the league? Some people think he will be.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I don't know that I think the Jags are a great team. I don't think the Titans are a great team either. Like, I think the Titans have a chance to be a good team. And I think the Titans have a chance to be a playoff team. But that's just me, Joe. I don't put the Titans on the same level as Cincinnati or Kansas City or maybe in Buffalo. Like I don't know that the Titans are there on a consistent basis. I do think a lot of that has to do with the quarterback. And the Titans are going to play Cincinnati early in the year, and they've not had good luck against Burrow so far, and we'll see if that changes this season. But look, I think the Titans are going to be right there in the division. I think it comes down to the last week. I think both teams are going to be 11-6. Like, I think it's going to be just about as close as it gets between Jacksonville and the Titans this year.
Yeah, which again, I think makes us more WHMR than WJAX. But I think you're right. I mean, I think that's accurate. I mean, Titans are good in some places, very good. Big question on offensive line. Jags are, I think, very good to very good. Actually, their offensive line is not completely settled either. I mean, there's questions. I mean, how good is their defense? Yeah. I think the Titans have the better defense.
I agree.
Calvin Ridley, is he going to be great? Is he going to play all year and be great? Just boom? Or is it kind of like we're going to remember when Calvin Ridley was a rising star receiver before all this stuff happened? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a great question. Look, there's certainly a scenario where the Titans win the division this year. I mean, I'm open to that. I think that absolutely could happen. The main difference for me, though, is I'm with you. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have a great year. I think he's going to play really well. I think that offense is going to look good. You know, with Ingram, the two running backs that they have with Bigsby and ETN, who I thought ETN was really good last year if he could stay healthy. And obviously, Christian Kirk, we can make fun of the contract, but Christian Kirk's a good player. And now with Calvin Ridley coming in, maybe Kirk is slotted where he's supposed to be in terms of the option in that offense. Like I think the Jags offense is going to have a really good year. And I think I'm not going to put Trevor Lawrence in the MVP conversation because I think that conversation this year is going to belong to Mahomes and Burrow and maybe even Jalen Hurts again on the other side of things. But Burrow is my pick for MVP this year. I think this is his year to win MVP. So I'm not putting Trevor Lawrence in that conversation. But I don't think we're going to have many questions about Trevor Lawrence at the end of this year. I think at the end of this season, Trevor Lawrence is going to be pretty much what we thought he was going to be heading into the NFL, which is a great quarterback, and that's what I anticipate him being this year for Jacksonville.
So do you think he's going to be like in that tier with those top guys after this year?
I think probably the tier right below Mahomes, right below Burrow. I mean, I think he's got that type of ability, but I think he'll be a tier right below those guys at the end of this year.
Because coming into the league, some people thought he'd be squarely in that top tier.
For sure, yeah.
That's what I just don't know.
I think he can get there. I think he can get there.
Yeah, like he's very good. You saw the strides. You know that he got that first year was such a disaster on so many fronts. I don't know that the first year like stunted his football development, but it didn't. It's like he didn't even get to start until last year, you know.
Right. He was the adult in the room.
Yeah. So, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't know that. I mean, I could still see there's a decent range with him that I could see, you know. I think at the least he's going to be, like a low second tier quarterback. If you want to go by the Sando tier range, you know, which is still really good. Is he going to be pushing for that top tier? Well, if he is, and if it's this year that we see it, then I guess I picked the Jags anyway, but I was going to say, I mean, a lot of people who are thinking the Jags might run away with this thing might look smart. I just think that they won't run away with it only because the Titans are going to win more games than they lose.
Josh from Murfreesboro on the text line says Robby drafts Trevor Lawrence and now he's the best QB in the league. We figured it out. He is my fantasy quarterback.
Yeah, that's a good point, WJ.
Am I jaded?
W-Jax. I like it. New call letters.
615-737-1025, our phone number. Coming up next, it's time for the Rob Rant here on the program. And I've got a question I want to throw out there. Has Nick Saban gone soft? We'll discuss coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 1063, The Game.
He knows the ins and outs of the Titans and isn't afraid to give his opinion.
Traylon Burks needs a massive offseason.
He's Jonathan Hutton of Outkick.
I don't see how they make a move without going to Ryan Tannehill.
Catch him every Monday at 10:30 on Chase McCabe and every Wednesday at noon on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Hutton is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Willie Nelson and family are on the road again, live in concert.
On the road again.
With Bobby Weir and Wolf Bros, featuring the Wolf Pack.
Esau holds a blessing. Brother Esau hurt.
Particle Kid, and more.
Whiskey River, take my mind.
The 2023 Outlaw Music Festival, presented by Wheatley Vodka, this Sunday. First Bank Amphitheater in Franklin. Tickets are on sale now at livenation.com. Outlaw Music Festival, part of the Farm Bureau Insurance Concert Series.
Real estate investors, get ready for an incredible opportunity. D&M Development is thrilled to announce the Phase 1 presale of 16 non-owner-occupied short-term rentals in Nashville's exclusive resort-style community, the New Cumberland. Nestled between Germantown and East Nashville, this exceptional location offers stunning views of the city and the Cumberland River. Each unit features spacious kitchens, 4 bedrooms, and 4 baths, providing the ultimate luxury experience for your guests. Resort-style pools and a wide range of amenities. Don't miss out on this exclusive investment chance. Visit thenewcumberland.com for more information and secure your spot in this extraordinary community.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. And you can bet on everything from spreads to player props and so much more. So visit FanDuel.com/JGM and kick off the NFL season with an offer you do not want to miss. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. 21 and over and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only, $10 deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. NFL Sunday Ticket offer ends 9/18/23. No refunds. Terms and embargoes apply. $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket, not YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account and current form of payment. Commercial use excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime.
Let's see. That one. Wait. I didn't see this one.
We apologize. When you have as many microbrews on tap as we do, we know it can be hard to make a decision. Don't worry. We're patient.
Wow. Let me see here.
Bar lines at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Incredible apps and salads, delectable burgers and wraps featuring local Tennessee whiskey and local brews on tap and live music 7 days a week. The decision is obvious. Bar lines at the Omni Nashville Hotel.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway. Now here's Jim Mitchell.
Our fleet vehicle program is a great benefit to all the fleet companies in Nashville. We are able to get their vehicle back on the road a lot quicker than the downtime of most dealers and most general repair shops, simply because we have the transmissions available. We're able to put priority on their vehicles to get them back on the road quickly.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway.
New home. New energy. Same Blue Raiders.
99 yards! Touchdown, Middle Tennessee!
Catch every game for MTSU on 93.3 Classic Hits. Coach Rick Stockstill is poised to lead his team to yet another bowl appearance.
We're really excited about this opportunity.
Your home for the Blue Raiders is 93.3 Classic Hits and the Classic Hits app. You're locked into Robby and Rexrode.
Every morning, first thing.
Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Don't make me angry.
Sometimes you have to tell someone to pound sand.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
This is the Rob Rant. Now on Robby and Rexrode.
Are you going to listen to me, or are you going to listen to these guys?
Yeah, I worry about it all the time. I know you all think I don't like the press, but I really do love you. Thank you.
It is that time of the day, time for the Rob Rant here on Robby and Rexrode. You can check it out every morning at 7:45 here on the program. And I do love college football season so much. It's one of my favorite things on the earth. And traditionally, Nick Saban has been a part of that. Now, the Tennessee fan in me Not a huge fan of Nick Saban and what he's done at Alabama because of how successful they've been, but I do enjoy me a Nick Saban press conference very much. And we had another example the other night after Alabama takes down MTSU in their season opener. Jalen Milroe played really well in that game at quarterback for Alabama. And Austin Hannon of Bama Central asked Saban after the game about Milroe's performance and what that could mean for Milroe as he moves forward here. Here's what Nick Saban had to say after the game on Saturday night.
I think tonight's positive performance will help him moving forward to next week and beyond.
And who is that?
Jalen Milroe, positive performance, how that will help him build.
So you're asking me to speculate, and I answer a hypothetical question about how some guy's going to perform in the future. I don't really know. I mean, I love him. I think he's doing well. I know he's working hard to try to improve. He's a good competitor. He'll do everything he can to play his best. But I don't have. This is a Coke bottle. It's not a crystal ball. How do you think he'll play? Do you have any idea? Hard to know. It's what we all strive for, though. I mean, we want everybody to play well, and we're going to try to prepare them the best way we can. But that's why you play the games.
So that was Nick Saban after the game on Saturday, Joe. A very typical, in my thought, Nick Saban answer there. He even brought up the Coke bottle again. We've seen him go to the Coke bottle as an illustration before in his post-game press conference. So I thought to myself Saturday night when I saw that, thank God, college football is back. Saban's already getting annoyed with the media. It's great stuff. And then I just kind of left it at that and was wondering where it would go from there. And then yesterday, Joe, Saban hops up there at the podium at the end of his press conference and starts apologizing to Austin Hannon. Here's what Saban had to say yesterday.
And Austin, look, you didn't ask a bad question the other night. I just didn't answer it very well. And, when a guy plays well in a game at any position, it should help his confidence and it should help him perform better in the future. But I do think that every player, has to understand that just because I played well, I still want to try to improve the few things that I could have done better. And I think if a person keeps that mindset, then they're always improving, all right, because you're never satisfied and you're always trying to do better. And you don't let complacency creep into your game. And that certainly hasn't happened with Jalen. So, hopefully the confidence that he gained in this game will certainly help him to continue to play, better and better in the future. That's what we hope for as coaches. That's what we try to encourage him to do. So, and that should have been my answer the other night.
So that's what Nick Saban had to say yesterday. Joe, I've never seen this. I have never seen. I mean, that was basically an apology from Nick Saban to Austin Hannon of Bama Central after the answer he gave on Saturday night. And a few days later, he's up there at the podium apologizing. Has Nick Saban gone soft? As someone who has covered Nick Saban in his career, your response, Joe, to what we've just heard?
I almost feel bad for the young reporters who are with Nick Saban now, because I mean, like, you compare that, and I don't have sound, but let me just promise you, and you need to trust me, that in the late 90s, first of all, the initial response would have been way harsher, and there would be no apology. I mean, none at all. That was great training ground for a young journalist. I mean, it's like, well, you better have every word figured out in your question and get it out real fast and then duck, and to hear that, I mean, he has been kind of softening up anyway for a while, like even like this whole, I mean, Nick played it in the open, like the whole, I love it. I think I was there. I think that was after they killed Michigan State in the playoff. Yeah, I think I was at that press conference, like back in 2015 with Derrick Henry. I think that's when he said that, and I was like, "What is he talking about right now? What is happening?" But yeah, this is a new level of, dude. It was fine. It was a funny little snappy answer, Like, oh, you want me to tell you how he's going to do in the future, huh? So I think it may signal the end of the Saban era and the end of the dynasty. I think that it's all crumbling now, and this is exactly the evidence that you need to know that.
I couldn't believe it when I saw it. He got up there and apologized. I mean, I guess, obviously most of this is a joke. good on him for apologizing, I guess. I didn't think he had anything to apologize for. I enjoyed the heck out of the Coke bottle answer, and I need more of the Coke bottle type answers as they move forward here. But it's, Saban looks like he's turning over a new leaf a little bit. He's getting softer with the media, apologizing to reporters up there on stage. A lot of people have talked about his demeanor heading into this year. He looks really happy. He's been all jovial, joking around.
Yeah, all these smiles and stuff.
All these smiles. Like, does that mean, like, a lot of people are scared to death that means that he thinks that this team is going to be like really good and that they're going to win the national championship and he's really comfortable, but maybe he's just getting really nice in his old age. I don't know what's going on.
Doesn't mean anything.
Maybe it means
like rat poison.
I mean, maybe it means he's going to be satisfied with 9-3. And he's just like, guys, we're just playing this game to, work on life and love and, and just be good, better for it. Maybe that's what it means. If I was a Bama fan right now, I'd be freaking out.
Yeah. I mean, what does it all mean at the end of the day? Chad from Chattanooga says maybe he got an earful from his wife over the answer he gave Saturday night. Maybe so. I don't know.
She didn't used to care when he used to eviscerate us. Terry didn't step in back then.
How much different is his post or his press conferences now to when he was at Michigan State?
Yeah, again, I mean, it was, like there's some level of like similarity, but he basically, I mean, and I swear I'm not exaggerating. Like, if you tried to ask him any sort of schematic football question, he would basically go out of his way to make you feel like an idiot because you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I can't sit here and say it was like 100% of those, but it was a pretty high hit rate where he would just be like, "Oh, really? Is that you cover 2? Yeah, you think I should be in cover 2 more or whatever?" You know what I mean? Like so they're like, "Jeez," but yeah, I mean, he was ornery, man. He was very ornery, and look, at that point, he also wasn't proven. Right. He wasn't. At that point, it wasn't like the great Nick Saban was like, yeah, this guy, what's up with this guy? And then obviously he has one good year, goes to LSU, and the rest is history. But the stories, of course, are like when he's with the Dolphins, the whole like, if don't address Coach Saban when you're walking by him in the hallway and stuff like that. I mean, that's a far cry from what we're seeing here. But hey, in all seriousness, I think it's good. It's a good thing. To see him kind of lighten up a little bit. You hope a guy like that can at some point enjoy, what he's done and have a little bit different perspective. I think you get into that football coach mode, and I think it's very hard to break out of it.
Jay Miles from Lebanon says it's because the local media claim that he bullies them more on the local media being crybabies. This is from Jay Miles from Lebanon on the text line.
Okay, wait, what? Say that again?
Apparently the local media, according to Jay Miles from Lebanon, has claimed that Saban bullies them. I must have missed that, but maybe they did.
They have recently claimed that?
I'm just telling you what the text line says.
Okay,
I don't know.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I didn't, honestly, when you did this, I did not see this. I saw the initial one. And I was like, all right, Nick, there you go. Yeah. And I didn't see this other thing. So was there crying of bullying in between there? I don't know. But the Saturday thing was not bullying. It was just a little snippiness. Come on.
It barely registers on the Saban scale. It really does.
Yeah, but maybe now the Saban scale is a little different.
Maybe so. This has been the Rob Rant. You can check it out every morning at 7:45 here on the program. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports. Week 1 has officially arrived. We'll get into that with Charles coming up next. Pro golf coming to Nashville this September 14th through 17th with the Simmons Bank Open at the Grove Club. Text the keyword golf to 615-737-1025 and enter for a chance to win a weekend pass for 4 to enjoy the event in style, including food and drink. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
All the big plays.
And we are done. Vandy 24-21.
All the big stories.
I'm sure Vandy will be a much better team if Clark Lee is the coach.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
What a stop by UC Sarah.
Then he wouldn't end up on my team.
Driving his way to victory lane.
I think that's the right strategy.
The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Country music singer-songwriter Kylie Morgan loves her ring from Genesis Diamonds.
I wanted something simple and with the stone that I loved, and that's exactly what he got. And then we dressed it up a little bit with the wedding bands, got a little firework action looking around it, and he definitely killed it when it came to choosing the ring.
Kylie's then-fiancé Jay did a lot of research, but chose Genesis because of the reputation, the quality, the personal service, and of course, the value.
Any man can walk through that door and know that, he's not going to be upsold or pressured to buy anything.
Kylie ended up writing a collection of songs about her bridal experience, including the viral sensation Bridesmaids.
I had at least 1,000 DMs asking from future brides where I got my ring, who I worked with because of the viral song. I think everyone kind of just looked at me as the person to ask.
And Kylie's advice to all those girls?
Go to Genesis. It's been a great experience, and they'll take care of you.
Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills, and Cool Springs.
Golf fans, the Simmons Bank Open hits town September 14th through the 17th and is now part of the Korn Ferry Tour Finals. 1025 and 1063. The Game wants to send you and 3 friends in VIP style. Text the keyword golf to 615-737-1025 to win.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Now, your Game Center update.
This Game Center update is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook, a casino celebrating 30 years by offering the industry's biggest 125% sign-up bonus. Get started at BetUS.com. This is Nick Keiser. The Tennessee Titans travel to New Orleans for Week 1. What does Saints head coach Dennis Allen have as his approach to taking on the Titans to start the season?
This team runs a lot of their offense through the running game, particularly Derrick Henry. Obviously, with Tajay Spears being there now, they've got a couple of different runners that they can utilize. You have to be able to stop, the run, play action game, and, hopefully get them into some longer yardage situation.
And as of yesterday, the NFL announced NFL Premiere for its rookies, where each player appearing in his first career game will have a commemorative patch worn on his jersey. The Titans have 6 rookies who made the final 53-man roster. And down in Atlanta, the Braves are the 4th team in the last 90 seasons to allow 10 runs in back-to-back games while being over 40 games over 500. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 102.5 The Game or visit theGameNashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Ross Chastain will be first to finish in the Ally 500 at Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 102.5 and 106.3.
Checkered flag is in the air. Man, this is a win in the cup race.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun.
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. On Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Call TJ's team today to see why they're referred to so often. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Nick Keiser here with you on this Thursday morning. And we have made it to week 1 of the NFL season. To help us talk more about that, we go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our friend Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports. Charles, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I'm ready to go. This is it. We're finally here.
We are finally here. We have made it. The beloved Detroit Lions in action tonight, who I have winning the division, and that Joe Rexrode will take no part of the Lions winning this division coming up in the NFC North.
Or getting the playoffs.
I don't know. I mean, it's a prove it. There's no question in my mind it's a prove it season. It was enjoyable to kind of watch the run late last season, but it's funny because Dan Wetzel, I thought, wrote a column that is very accurate. Like, this is this game for the Lions is immense to me. Knowing that team growing up in Michigan, I can't think of a game that has more ramifications on it for the franchise and the future than, I don't know, maybe back in, 91 when they faced Dallas. After the 91 season, they faced Dallas in the playoffs. If they win this game, I think it sets the table for them in a way mentally that could be transformative for the franchise. I think if they get blown out, it does the same thing, but in the opposite direction. I think people just look at it and go, okay, well, last year was fun. That's great. But now we're back to reality. This is sort of the same franchise. It's so tremendously important, I think, for Detroit to win this game. Whereas I think for Kansas City, even if Kansas City dropped this game, particularly with the Chris Jones situation the way it is, the Travis Kelce knee injury, I think people would find excuses for the reason why Kansas City would lose this one. So Detroit, though, no margin for excuses.
So, Charles, the Titans taking on the Saints in week 1 coming up this weekend. Derek Carr now in at quarterback for New Orleans. What's your view on the Saints and the Derek Carr experiment that's about to take place with them this season?
Well, it's interesting because it's for the division, the Saints to me are head and shoulders above, everyone else in the NFC South. I mean, you look at every other team in the NFC South and they're working out something significant, but the Saints, look, they have a roster, particularly in the NFC, where they should be able to put up a pretty significant season, or at least a playoff caliber season. It's still a team that, when everyone that should be on the field is on the field, if you're talking about Marshawn Lattimore, Cameron Jordan, Marcus May, they have a defense that it looks like a playoff level defense, but a lot of this team is just going to be predicated on what can Derek Carr bring to the table. Michael Thomas, we're still waiting to see whether or not he can ever return to form again. Chris Olave looks like a guy who's ready, to be a next level receiver for the Saints. But it's a I would say low level, high team in the NFC, if that makes any sense. It's a team that, to me, the Tennessee Titans, if they want to have a playoff caliber season, it's important to start with a win against a team like this, because if this is New Orleans and they're in the AFC, given the multitude of talent in the AFC, it's probably just a mid-level team in the AFC, and that's not what I think the Titans want to be this year. Obviously, it's not what it's going to take to win the division. So the biggest thing, I think, is just what you would expect. You're going to have to get after Derek Carr, force turnovers, and get off to a good start, I think, against this team, just because of the fact that the strength of it, to me, I still think is defensively.
I want to go back to the Chiefs, Charles. The Bosa deal gets done. It's a massive deal. I look at the Chiefs, and first of all, even like Juju Smith-Schuster ended up being like a key guy last year. I think last year was kind of like Mahomes will be like Brady, like whoever's out there, it's going to work, and he's going to make it work, and the offense is great.
Sure.
But I think their defense is very pedestrian, certainly without Chris Jones. Where is that going, and how do you view we know how great Mahomes and Reed are, but just the overall rest of that roster?
Yeah, look, if you take Chris Jones off that defense, if he's not Aaron Donald, he's pretty close to it at this point in his career, especially in terms of the importance to that defense. And to me, Chris Jones is the kind of guy that if Chris Jones were permanently removed from the Chiefs defense, they would probably change the way they schemed everything. That's how important he is ultimately for that defense. But look, in his absence, what are you going to get out of George, Karlaftis? Is he going to take a huge step forward this year? They're very happy with him, but you just tell me, you look at that front, for example, I just don't, Tershawn Wharton, again, Karlaftis, it just looks like a team you can run on, first and foremost. And it's, yeah, I mean, it's just thin. It's just lacking. I don't know where the sacks necessarily come from without Jones on that defense. I don't know. Again, I don't think it's stout enough in the first two levels on the defensive line and the linebackers to be able to stop the run consistently. It looks basically like a defense where, okay, if the Chiefs can score, 35 points a game, 40 points a game, they can, continue to be what they are. But it just puts an exponential amount of pressure again on Patrick Mahomes, which I think minus Kelsey is, at what point do you look at Mahomes and go, okay, you can't carry everything. You can't just keep taking guys away. And if you take away Kelsey, now you're sitting there going, okay, well, now he's got to get it done with, Isaiah Pacheco in the backfield. Okay, maybe, Kadarius Toney, Marcus Valdez-Scantling, Sky Moore. I mean, it's just a bunch of guys. And to me, Kelsey, what he represents offensively for them is the same thing when Brady, let's say, had the leanest years on offense. He still always had Gronk, or he had Edelman, or prior to those guys, he had, Wes Welker for a long period. You can't take everybody away from Patrick Mahomes and have a defense without a Chris Jones and expect him to be consistently elite in the AFC. I just think it's too much to expect. And frankly, if he can do that, then okay. I mean, we might as well start talking about at what point does he succeed Tom Brady as the best quarterback we've ever seen in our lifetime.
Charles, the quarterback differential in the AFC, the NFC is pretty stark in terms of just the quality of the quarterbacks that we see in both conferences. How do you view the NFC this year in terms of kind of how wide open it is beyond Philadelphia and San Francisco and the teams at the top of that conference?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of the reason why when we look at the NFC, it's the wide open nature that's there is because of the quarterbacks. I mean, when we stack up the divisions and go, okay, well, what are the best? Let's look at the NFC West, right? We're like, all right, the best teams in the NFC West. Well, the best quarterback is probably still Matt Stafford, if he's healthy, and yet the surrounding team with the Los Angeles Rams it's going to put Stafford in a bad spot. But then the rest of the division, Geno Smith, you expect good things out of him last year, but he would be far down the list, if he were in the AFC. Brock Purdy, same situation with the San Francisco 49ers. It doesn't feel elite. You look at the NFC South, again, best quarterback in the NFC South right now, particularly when you consider the veteran nature of him, is probably it's going to be Carr and with the Saints. Again, not impressive when you stack him up in the AFC. NFC North, Cousins. I mean, Jared Goff, Jordan Love. I mean, maybe we're talking about Justin Fields. We just don't know. NFC East, and this is it. Is the rest of the NFC. You got Dak Prescott. Okay, I mean, could Dak Prescott not be a Dallas Cowboy in 3 years? Sure. Would you say that about elite level AFC quarterbacks? No. The Giants, Daniel Jones. I don't know. I mean, it's just. It feels to me when you look at the NFC, it feels like Jalen Hurts and then just a bunch of guys that if you shifted the best of them over to the AFC would just be average. And, I think that's why the AFC just looks like such a dogfight right now. You feel like you have to go through everybody. I mean, think of the AFC North alone. Joe Burrow, Deshaun Watson, say whatever you want, but I mean, there's a period where Deshaun Watson's all-pro level player. Kenny Pickett, who looks like he's taken huge strides this year, and obviously Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. All four of those guys, if you shifted them to the NFC, would probably slot right behind Jalen Hurts. They would probably be the next four, quarterbacks in the NFC. That's crazy. That's one division in the AFC, and we're not even talking about the AFC West. I mean, it's kind of crazy when you think about how top heavy, I guess not really top heavy, how consistently heavy the AFC is with quarterbacks and how that sort of transpired over time. This feels like the NBA days where I can't remember which conference was it where like every year we're like, yeah,
the West.
West. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was like is this the West forever? We're like, is the East ever going to be able to compete ever again with the West? It feels that way from the standpoint of the AFC versus the NFC.
Hey, bro, Kirk Cousins is better than Kenny Pickett. That was that's a hot take. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sure. Now, I think, right now, but if you're taking one of those guys and you're moving forward, I mean, are you going to say that same thing 2 years from now? Be honest.
Well, there's a big age gap. I don't know. Is Kenny Pickett going to have a career as good as Kirk Cousins? I'm not betting a lot of money on that.
I mean,
you are?
I don't know. We know what Kirk Cousins' ceiling is right now. I mean, at this stage in his career, right? Especially when you talk about the postseason. I don't know what Kenny Pickett's ceiling is at this point. I know he looks to me like a player who's gotten a lot better between year one and year two, and is suggestive that maybe the ceiling might be a little, higher than what we initially thought. But man, stop fighting for our Spartans, okay? Just like
he loves him.
No, you know what? That's fine. So when Kenny Pickett goes on the road in the postseason and beats Drew Brees in a playoff game with a last-second drive, a last-second touchdown pass that is as clutch as you can have in the NFL, then you let me know. Has nothing to do with Spartan anything, but I mean, this is you are classic national media disrespecting Kirk Cousins right now.
Hey, I'm not a Kirk Cousins basher, and especially when you look at statistically, and I know people, it's hard to just be like, oh, the NFL's a wins and losses league, but look at his stats. People will be blown away by the end of his career where he ends up statistically. I will say that, and I like Kirk. I know Kirk. I mean, like, he's a great guy, really, really, I think, good player, but always going to be that guy that needs, the rest of the team around him built out to a maximum point to achieve, the meaningful success we'd talk about later. So but I'm just saying, my point is.
But is Kenny Pickett not that? You know what I mean? Like, what's that?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Well, but again, it's early for Kenny Pickett, so you're right. We don't know his ceiling, but I mean, most guys are that, aren't they? Like, you got a handful, maybe at a time, and really not even a handful, that are guys who can just carry a franchise. Other than that, they all need excellence around them, don't they?
I don't. Then that would mean that you're putting Kirk Cousins. Okay, so Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers.
No, like those guys. Like I said, there's a handful. There's maybe a handful at a time. Right? Is Kenny Pickett going to be one of those guys?
I don't know. I think if we're going to sit there and go, well, most guys need it, and if we're going to open that box, you're going to put a bunch of guys in that box that are never, ever going to be considered, inferior to Kirk Cousins. You're not going to put Trevor Lawrence there. You're not going to put Justin Herbert there. You're not going to put, even Russell Wilson at this point in his career. You're not going to put him there. I mean, you're talking about half the AFC if you want to start getting into, well, geez, he needs a team built around him. Deshaun Watson. I mean, there's, again, Lamar Jackson. Like, how deep do you want to go around? These are all guys that I think would be considered superior to Kirk Cousins at this point. I'm not, and by the way, this is a dumb conversation to have because I'm not bashing the guy and whether or not he's a good player. I'm just saying, like, if you're sitting there and you're slotting AFC quarterbacks versus NFC quarterbacks in the playoffs, moving forward, we know what Kirk is. We don't necessarily know what Kenny Pickett is, and maybe our opinions on those two guys versus each other change by the end of the season.
We'll have more with Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
94.9 The Fan is your home for Hit City.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds continue their 6-game series at First Horizon Park against Memphis.
He gloves, grabs, guns, gets him, and the Sounds win again.
Pre-game at 6:20.
Nashville Sounds baseball on 94.9 The Fan and the Fan app.
Hey, it's Jared from my friends at Hiller. It's about to start getting cooler, and it's time to start thinking about your heating system. You do not want to experience breakdowns when that first temperature drop happens, so it's time to get your heating tune-up taken care of. Luckily, happy half-off month at Hiller. Tune-ups are 50% off. This month, Hiller is making it easier than ever to tackle necessary home replacements by giving you 50% off select add-on items. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud supporters of the Preds, the Vols, and Vandy. Hiller, call the Happy Face truck today.
Honey, what's an 8-letter word for difficult to explain?
When we planned on retiring, we never planned on Medicare being so confusing.
What's a 6-letter word for special skills or knowledge?
Fortunately, Farm Bureau Health Plans is an expert on all things Medicare. With 75 years of helping Tennesseans, they helped us understand our Medicare options.
Why are these things so complicated?
Talk to your local representative or visit fbhp.com. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Plan on us.
Teddy's Tavern, downtown's newest bar with an old Nashville feel, is conveniently located across the street from Bridgestone Arena and just a few blocks away from the pedestrian bridge. Get a taste of the new brunch menu to fuel your Titans pride on game day. Pre-game specials from 9 a.m. till kickoff include 2-for-1 draft beers, mimosas, and Bloody Marys. Teddy's Tavern is where you want to be before every Titans home game, so come down and meet me at Teddy's.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
At the Home Depot, Saturdays are about two things. Easy cleanup with the Ryobi 18-volt ONE+ Whisper Series leaf blower. And football. That's right, Reese Davis. With variable speed, it has the power for when you really need it and just the right amount when you don't. And the ONE+ battery platform means you go from yard work to DIY in just a click, so you can get projects done faster. Which means more time for football. For football. Upgrade your Saturday with Ryobi and the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025thegame and on Instagram at 1025thegame Nashville.
Hey!
Oh yeah, and like us on Facebook too. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode.
It's part of this nutritious breakfast.
Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode. We got more with Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports now here on the program. And Charles, we went through our fun season predictions earlier. I've got Cincinnati winning the Super Bowl this year. Given the money situation that they're about to be in with Burrow's new contract, and you got to figure out a deal with Chase and Higgins and what all is going to happen there, is this kind of the last best shot in your mind, given the roster around them right now, for Cincinnati to get it done this year?
It's hard to say because I think the offensive line's better, right? I think this is, and it's a group that should have some continuity moving forward. I think when I look at the starters right now and I say, okay, who are we going to peel off this group if Burrow does this big deal? Well, it depends on what the deal looks like. It depends on what the structure looks like. It's a little odd to me at this point in the preseason without getting this deal ultimately done. And now I think there's some question about whether or not it's actually going to be finished before he steps on a football field this week. I kind of thought, well, they have, Burrow's got the same agent as Nick Bosa. They do the Bosa deal. They're not going to announce, both these deals on the same day, so the Burrow deal comes in the wake of the Bosa deal, like in the next, 24 to 48 hours. I don't know for sure if that's actually what's going to happen. And it's questionable to me for that franchise to be putting him back on the field again without this extension in place, particularly given that, he's had some injuries in the past. I think we've talked about that. And if he suffers an injury before this deal's done, there's going to be a lot of criticism for the Bengals. Now, that said, again, it's whether or not T. Higgins is there, whether or not Jamar Chase is there, I think the Burrow deal is being done with an eye on trying to see if they can retain those two guys. Now, Tyler Boyd, maybe that's the one that you lose, in the mix here. But I think in terms of just trying to keep together the sort of the triplets, the most special guys that they feel like make a difference and provide matchup issues, that will let them compete with a team like Kansas City offensively. It's going to be Burrow, Chase, and Higgins. So I think there's a chance offensively, this team can definitely keep itself together for a while, depending on what Burrow's deal looks like. But, running back, they drafted Chase Brown. I think that's an issue or a position they'll continue to address in the draft, to keep the financial aspect of it down. I don't think Joe Mixon will be there beyond this season. And then, tight end, kind of the same situation. I mean, I think that's tight end, third receiver they'll continue to try to address in the draft. But in the AFC, I mean, you have to be able to keep ahead of the Joneses with at least a few, elite level defensive players if you're going to carry the kind of offense that can compete with the Chiefs. They work to get ahead of Hendrickson's deal, Trey Hendrickson. I think defensively it's a very good, solid team. Sam Hubbard, DJ Reader, but it's going to be a situation kind of like Kansas City where you're going to have to decide: can you keep the Tyreek Hills? Can you keep the Travis Kelce's on leading deals? Can you pour a bunch of money into the offensive line? If that's the way you go, you're going to end up like the Chiefs are now, where you might have a Chris Jones type, and then you just end up supplementing a significant amount of the defense through the draft. So they got the work cut out for them, but I still think I would be surprised if Chase and Higgins and Burrow, that's not what everybody in the building, and I think even in that locker room, is working on right now, contractually trying to keep those three guys together.
Some folks on the text line asking for you on Titans Jags, and we've gotten your thoughts on the Titans and how maybe they changed a little bit when you came to town, Charles. But on the Jags in particular, and I don't know if you saw it, but Sando in my publication, there's some people in this league who think the Titans are absolute cheeks. It's amazing. But on the Jags, Charles, Trevor Lawrence in particular, and we'll take it back to this QB discussion. Tiers or elite and good, great.
Right.
At this point, based on what you see from Trevor Lawrence, do you think that he's going to end up this year or soon being one of the possibly top tier kind of guy? What do you think any differently about his ceiling than you did when he entered the league? Well,
yeah, I think it was the Urban Meyer experience. I think that worried me because I looked at Trevor Lawrence and I thought, we're seeing some consistent problem. It was like at times he lost confidence in the red zone. There were times where you watched him and you're like, he's not as accurate as I would expect him. At this point in his career, particularly on some of the bigger plays, and the Urban Meyer experience scared you, but then he turned it around with Doug Peterson, and Peterson, I think, has proven at this point that there's no question he can get a lot out of the quarterbacks that he works with. But in terms of, how he projects going forward, this season's not only important, but how he works with Calvin Ridley is a big deal. We're all assuming that Ridley, because he had, I think, wide receiver one talent with Atlanta, that after the year suspension, he can just step back in and fill that role. Well, we'll see. I mean, I don't know for sure that that's a slam dunk at this point, but I would say it's a slam dunk whether or not, Lawrence can develop into that elite level. He's got to have guys that come with him, and I think Ridley's going to have to be part of that. Christian Kirk, much better player than I thought last season when we looked at that contract, and we all kind of clowned him for the money that they paid Kirk. But I think it showed, okay, we see the deep threat aspect that it brought, how much that helped Lawrence. But you could tell when you looked at the surrounding receivers, he needed another big guy next to Christian Kirk, and that Christian Kirk was not wide receiver one. Ridley, that is what they're counting on. I'll say this, though. They are building out aspects of the team that I think the way that they've balanced it out in the backfield, like Travis Etienne, very good, versatile running back, but I think Tank Bigsby people who are not familiar with his game are going to be surprised at what he adds to that offense. I think it does give them a really good 1-2 punch at running back that's going to help Lawrence considerably. I still think that offensive line, they're working on it, and I would not be surprised if that's where we see more of, I think, the draft capital in the next couple of years is to continue to build out that line and give it the kind of depth that really they need. The Cam Robinson suspension, I mean, that to me, that hurts them. And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Jacksonville doesn't come flying out of the box this year the way that some people thought, given how they ended last year with all the momentum. But look, I think Lawrence is on the right track. I think I understand why so many of us are like, okay, he's ascending toward that elite level that we expect. But by no means do I think any of us can say he's there. He's not there yet. He's not. He's in that second to third tier soup of quarterbacks that are really good, but need to take a considerable step forward this season to separate themselves from others. I would even say Lawrence, by the way, when you look at Justin Herbert, when you compare those two guys from a tools aspect, I love Lawrence. I love his game. I think Herbert is probably one of, in terms of just pure ability to throw a football and, put a ball somewhere where you're like, well, I don't know how many other guys in the league could do that. I think Herbert is a better player than Lawrence in that respect. But I'll ask you guys, what if you had to choose between those two? What if you're looking, you're projecting out the next 5 or 6 years? Are you taking Lawrence or are you taking Herbert? And I guarantee part of your decision-making process, you're going to think about who's around those two different guys because it's different, right?
Yeah, I'm going to fire the coach and take Herbert. That's just me.
Yeah, well, right, because you look at Herbert and the pure natural ability that he brings to the table, and you go, wow, like it's immense. You look at Lawrence and you go, there's a ton there that you love, especially the leadership abilities. He has the arm, he has the athleticism. But at some point, I got to think about, the surrounding. We're going back to what Joe was saying. Let's Kirk Cousins it and talk about the surrounding roster. And right now, I mean, Herbert, talent-wise, there's zero question who has more talent around them between those two guys. I mean, the Chargers, it's absurd when you really look at the amount of talent that the Chargers have around Justin Herbert. It's absurd to think that that's a team that shouldn't be able to compete with every single team in the league right now.
Well, Charles, we've made it to week 1. We'll have actual football games to discuss with you next week. We're looking forward to that, and thanks for being with us. We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, I want people on the text line telling Joe we can't talk about Kirk Cousins for at least like a month. Okay,
well, we're gonna break down Cousins and Pickett week 1 next week to kick things off.
That sounds like fantastic radio. A good way to end this whole segment.
Well, we also need to make fun of the Lions next week after they lay an egg tonight. So we'll have a lot.
Oh man, I can't. Yeah, you and I will be texting as we watch this game today. There's no doubt.
Yeah, no question. Thanks, Charles. Appreciate you, buddy.
Have a good one, guys.
Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports, our guest. We'll react to what Charles had to say. Take your thoughts as well. 615-737-1025. That's next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 1025-1063, The Game.
He breaks down every game.
The players are still going to be fine.
And knows the ins and outs of the two-tone blue.
They deal with their own position coaches.
He is ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter Teron Davenport.
It's clear what he's doing.
TD joins every Monday at 1, Thursdays at 3, Friday mornings at 8, and anytime on the Talkin' with TD podcast.
I think that's really cool how he could show both sides.
TD is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The Freaks on Parade Tour returns. Zombie, Cooper, Rob Zombie, Alice Cooper, together live. This Tuesday night, Bridgestone Arena, with special guests, Ministry and Filter. Tickets are on sale now at livenation.com. The Freaks on Parade Super Tour. Buy tickets at livenation.com.
Do reward. Just desserts. Special day. Payoff. Just because. Whatever your reasons, it's time to visit the spa.
Mokara Spa at the Omni Nashville Hotel, now offering outdoor yoga 9 a.m. every Saturday through September 2nd on the spa terrace. Book any treatment and get complimentary valet parking and access to the rooftop pool with incredible views of the Music City skyline. Mokara Spa at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Inner Zen, outer beauty.
Blue Raider fans, your home for all the MTSU football and men's basketball action is on 93.3 Classic Hits and 95.1 Classic Hits in the borough. Catch the action all season long with Chip Walters on the call. Go Blue Raiders!
Join the Nashville Area Chamber of Commerce at our office in Capitol View on Friday, September 8th for our upcoming open house, Pick Your Place. This event runs from 8:30 to 10:30 a.m., allowing you to come and go as your busy schedule allows. Utilize this unique opportunity to meet with chamber staff, introduce your business to members of the community, and explore the diverse engagement opportunities available to chamber members. Don't miss out on this fun and interactive event. Pick Your Place is free to attend, but registration is preferred. Time is running out. Register today at NashvilleChamber.com.
It's time to let your voice be heard. Nashville is headed to a runoff in the mayoral race on Thursday, September 14th. Stand up and be counted. Cromwell Media reminds you to get out and vote for the future of our city.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormonal deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve your quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit our website at coolspringsmd.com.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail, the ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because you know the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you know you're always getting professional-grade products. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Sometimes it's good to be loud.
This is the NFL.
Especially when you're Jared Stillman.
That's where we are.
He's not afraid to say what's on his mind each and every day.
That was embarrassing. I don't care if you're a rookie. That was embarrassing.
Stillman and Company. Weekdays at 2 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Nashville Sports and Social, the most epic sports watching experience in town, is opening at the mall at Green Hills today for the first NFL game of the season. Plus, Stillman and Company will be broadcasting live from 2 to 6 p.m. Sports and Social features a massive state-of-the-art 33-foot LED screen, their world-famous menu, and signature curated cocktails. It's today the grand opening of Sports and Social at the Mall of Green Hills as the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs take on the Detroit Lions. Also, make sure you're tuned in for the NFL pregame show coming up this Sunday. Join Jared Stillman, Chris Sanders, and Derek Mason at Twin Peaks in Madison from 9:30 to 11:30 as they break down the Titans Week 1 matchup against the Saints. NFL pregame show presented by Parma Tractor and Equipment and Beast Unleashed. Thanks to Charles Robinson for Yahoo Sports for being with us in the last segment. The Trevor Lawrence discussion, interesting this year. This is going to be, I think, Joe, kind of a formative year for him to figure out exactly what he is. Is he just a pretty good quarterback? Or could he be a great quarterback this year for Jacksonville? And if he is a great quarterback, what does that mean for this season? What does that mean for the future of this division? If you're the Titans, if you're the Texans, if you're the Colts trying to combat against that.
Yeah, well, think back to when he was drafted. I mean, a lot of the talk was, well, sorry, rest of AFC South. The Jags were stinky enough for long enough that they got the guy who's going to help them take over the division for a long period of time, you know. And then Urban came in, and we all know what happened early. But I mean, I still like the Jags' future. Like if you just took the AFC South 4 teams,
yep.
You know, actually, I was going to say 2 of them. Actually, 3 of them really have signed up for their future quarterbacks. But I certainly feel better about Trevor Lawrence than any of the other 3.
Agreed.
He's good. He's quite good. So that alone, knowing that and where he is, like they have the best future of the 4 teams in this division right now. Maybe Anthony Richardson is going to put it all together after probably an up and down rookie year and be better than him. That's possible. I think his ceiling is higher than what Trevor Lawrence is right now, but I have no idea how close he'll come to approaching it. And then Stroud and Levis is a little bit more to me. Just wait and see. But I think right now the urgent question is, of course, this year, how good is he? How much of a step does he make this year? What does that mean in the race that I think will be very good between the Titans and Jags, even if many of Charles's cohorts around the NFL don't agree? But at least Charles has a good take on that, even if his Pickett take was atrocious. And of course, real quick, by the way, Junie, of course, texted me. And of course, Junie said, this is what Junie said. He said, Kenny Pickett will hands down have a better career than Kirk Cousins. Robbie, your thoughts?
I mean, I think Kenny Pickett's going to be pretty good this year. Now,
I do
hands
too.
down a better career than Kirk Cousins. I don't know that I'd go hands down. Look, I like Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, to me, is like the definition of a slightly above average quarterback. I've watched him play a lot. I think he's good. I think that he makes the right decisions most of the time. He's very accurate with the ball. Now, the longevity of it, like, that's the hard part, right? Because I think Charles is right. There's going to come a day where Kirk Cousins stops playing football, and people are going to look around at the numbers, and they're going to be like, wow, he put up a ton of numbers. I think Kenny Pickett has more ability than Kirk Cousins does. But I also, Joe, think a lot of people have more ability than Kirk Cousins does, and they haven't been able to maximize it. So we'll wait and see. I'm very encouraged by what I've seen from Pickett so far in the preseason. I think that offense is going to be pretty good. I think George Pickens is going to have a big year. So I think Kenny Pickett is going to make a huge jump from year 1 to year 2. I think we're still early on is he going to have a better career than Kirk Cousins front, though? I mean, we've seen him barely play football to this point.
Yeah, I don't want to do too much quote unquote box score scouting, but I mean, Cousins, you're talking about, what does he have? 8 years of 4,000 or more yards. I mean, his career rating is 97.8. He's been above 100. I mean, it's not just empty calories. People are like, oh, Monday Night Football, he sucks. Okay, what? I mean, and I understand the playoffs last year, they didn't get it done. He did win a playoff game on the road with him doing it, which is different than like a lot of quarterbacks, and a lot of quarterbacks can't say that. But yeah, Pickett may be better. You have to do it very well for a long period of time. Junie's point is, well, it's also where you go, and with Pittsburgh and their franchise, that sets them up for a better chance for success. And that may be true. Let's bring that to the Trevor Lawrence discussion. I mean, he's in Jacksonville.
Yeah, there's that.
And we know what that meant first year, and then last year it was this magical turnaround to get the playoffs, and now they're everybody's darling. But I don't know. I know a little bit of something about ownership and bad franchises kind of finding a way to be bad. So does that end up hurting Trevor Lawrence long term in terms of what he could be in this league?
Well, let me put it to you this way. I think the Jags are a good team. I think they've got a lot of really good pieces. Would it surprise you if they cratered this year? I mean, it would probably surprise me a little bit, but it would not register on the all-time list of shocking things that I've seen in sports if the Jags go 7-10 this year.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised, but no, it would not register on any shocking scale for me either. You could look at them a little bit like a lot of people looked at the 2019 Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, another number 1 pick who at that point, right, there was a lot of ooh, Baker, and, look, I think Trevor's going to end up better off than Baker, but I see a little bit of a parallel between 2019 Cleveland and 2023 Jacksonville.
They do play the Colts on Sunday, so that could be interesting. I bet that doesn't go very well for Indianapolis. I understand what Charles's point is, Cam Robinson being suspended, and maybe they don't come out of the gate strong, but I think they're going to win pretty handily on Sunday.
Right. It's good to play the Colts first when you have issues like that. Yeah. I hope you're listening, Indy Ben.
That's right. 615-737-1025 phone number. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Fat Jack from FatJackSports.com. We'll get his thoughts on week 1 of NFL action. That is coming up next. Make sure you tune in to 102.5, 106.3 The Game this Saturday for Vanderbilt football. Commodores kicking off at 10 a.m. on the road against Wake Forest with pregame beginning at 8:30. You can hear all the coverage on the 102.5 The Game app and at thegamenashville.com. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Whether it's college football,
players might end up not going to Alabama or Georgia,
or the NFL,
I think that this team wins the AFC South.
Trevor knows. Join ESPN's Trevor Maddich every Tuesday at 4:30 on Stillman and Company as he gives his opinions on the latest from the gridiron.
I'm going to the team where I can get a ring.
Trevor Maddich brought to you by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, where experience matters, on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Country music singer-songwriter Kylie Morgan absolutely loves her Genesis diamond ring.
I got so many compliments as soon as I got the ring and continue to get compliments on it because it looks really pretty on my finger.
Kylie's husband Jay heard folks in the music industry raving about Genesis, but he also did a lot of homework on his own.
When it came to finding the ring, he took it very seriously. He did all the research. I think he knows more about diamonds than any man in the entire world, and that's how he landed on Genesis. He just knew that they were the best.
Jay picked out a stunning, flawless, pear-shaped diamond in an elegant setting. Got the value price Genesis is known for. And now they both tell everyone they meet about the amazing Genesis experience.
When you walk into Genesis, you can just feel the happiness. You know that they're helping find something that symbolizes the love that you have for your partner, and you can feel that as soon as you walk through the door.
Always been you, and I've always been your wife.
Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
The Electronic Express Labor Day sale is ending soon. Don't miss a TCL 65-inch 4K Roku TV, only $349, or an Acer Aspire laptop for only $479. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department: computers, appliances, 4K TVs, smart home, furniture and mattresses, and more. Get an Avanti laundry pair just $379 each, or a Sony Bluetooth speaker for only $99. Get up to 5 years special financing throughout the entire store. Electronic Express, we make it happen.
Oh, Charlie's, that's where you'll find me. That southern flavor got me saying, hey, y'all. And ooh, that gooey caramel pie tastes like summertime at Old Charlie's.
The sweet, sweet sounds of this song are in honor of the sweet, sweet news that Free Pie Wednesdays are back at O'Charlie's. O'Charlie's. Oh, that's good.
Yum, yum, have some O'Charlie's. Born in Nashville and it shows.
It's Raymond and Austin. We're back on All-Star Sports Radio. Celebrating their 30th year, our sportsbook and casino sponsor, BetUS.com, is offering a 125% sign-up bonus plus up to 30 risk-free bets.
It's called Bet Protect, the perfect offer for crazy plays, like the famous butt fumble. It's the GOAT of embarrassing plays.
Really, remember when you bet me you could do a live show with a GOAT as your co-host, and he face-kicked you?
Thankfully, I didn't take the under on that one.
Anyway, folks, get Bet Protect today. The industry's biggest 125% sign-up bonus plus up to 30 risk-free bets. BetUS.com, where the game begins.
Will they find a home? Sponsored by Geico. Susan has always wanted to live in a chateau.
I like a certain je ne sais quoi.
While Jake is more into the Cape Cod style home.
It's a classic look.
Compromise is tough, but these two won't have to compromise when they bundle home and car insurance with Geico. It's easy, and they could save even more. In the end, Susan and Jake found a Cape Cod style home where they will only speak French.
Bonjour, je t'aime, merci beaucoup, and cordon bleu.
You'll get better with time.
Bundling without compromise at Geico.com.
It's a long summer. But don't worry. Hockey will be back soon. You'll hear every slap shot, save, hit, and of course,
knocked down in front, rebound, and a score!
On your home for Smashville, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Is it October yet? You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
We are your racing station. 102.5, 106.3 The Game is Nashville's home for NASCAR. Tune in this Sunday for the Hollywood Casino 400 at Kansas at 1 p.m. NASCAR on 102.5, 106.3 The Game, presented by O'Charlie's. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Nick Keyser here with us, and we go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Fat Jack from FatJackSports.com. Looking ahead to a little Week 1 action. Fat Jack, thanks for being with us this morning. What's your advice for Week 1 as the NFL gets underway tonight and this weekend?
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me. Yeah, the NFL's finally here. We won a little bit of money last week. Everybody gets the same picks. They're all posted and documented at fatjacksports.com. Under the results tab, people can go there to see how we did last week. Small profit to get a little momentum going into the season. Now we have NFL season. Generally speaking, you want to look underdogs in week 1 and week 2, especially with the influx of new money coming into the sports betting space around the country. So you have guys that don't know how to factor in lines. They just look at the teams with the names on the front of the jerseys, and they think those are generally going to win. They might win, but they won't cover. Since 2018, in weeks 1 and week 2, underdogs are hitting at a 59% clip, 88, 62, and 3 in weeks 1 and 2. Underdogs of 1 to 5 points hitting 64% of the time. So you're going to get, generally speaking, underdogs early. Divisional dogs doing even better. Since 2014, divisional underdogs 31, 12, and 2 against the spread. So that's 72%. So when you're looking at the overall week 1 card, you want to narrow it down into at least subsets of games that you, generally speaking, over recent history will get you in the right idea. Doesn't mean you can auto bet them. You're not going to go up with, grandma's money and bet every single divisional underdog and hope that works out well for you. But since 2014, so a pretty big sample size, 72% of the time those divisional dogs have been covering Cleveland, Indianapolis, Carolina, Green Bay, the Rams, Las Vegas, Giants, and Jets, all divisional underdogs here as we head into week 1.
I was just going to say, so you're telling me to take the Colts and the points. Yeah? Or is that a little bit of a stretch on that one?
I'm telling you, they've got a chance. I mean, if you look at the history since 2014, you're getting value, and that one absolutely have a chance to win because the line's 1.5, 2, or excuse me, 4.5, somewhere in there. So they don't necessarily have to win, but they're probably going to keep it close enough to cover. And most importantly, you just want to go into it with a betting strategy that, generally speaking, will get you on the right side. You're going to have – listen, one thing I say that nobody else does – there are things you can't control in sports gambling. So you're not going to win 100% of the time. There's in-game injuries, in-game turnovers, those type things. That's why everybody's not Kenny Rogers. Why they can't just head to Vegas, wear gold chains, and win a bunch of money. You've got to be disciplined in this. But generally speaking, yeah, Indy's the right side of the game. Even if they don't win, they probably are going to – they should cover at least 72% of the time since 2014 they have, based on the value that's created by the average guy that's walking up and betting these games who doesn't know how to factor a line in.
Fat Jack, we got week 2 of college football, week 1 of the NFL this weekend. Tell us about fatjacksports.com and what our listeners can find there as football season, officially the full football season, underway this weekend.
Guys, it's what you see is what you get with me. Everything is posted and documented. I've been doing this for 27 years. There's no sales staff. There's no callbacks. There's no underdog lock of the millennium. It's just the same exact. I'm in Las Vegas right now. I do a television show, actually runs in Nashville, so you can watch Beat the Odds in Nashville. Check your local listings. I think it's on the NBC affiliate. I go on Sirius, ESPN, all over the country, Disney-owned station. Doesn't matter. I've been vetted by everybody because I'm honest. And when you're honest, you win. You can allow guys to be apply common sense when they go to the website. So when you go to fatjacksports.com, the price you pay is only based on how long you sign up. The plays you get are the best plays, no matter whether you bet $50 a game or $20,000 a game. It doesn't matter. And then those exact games are posted and documented under the results tab. If you're jumping into the sports gambling space for the first time, go there and apply common sense. Sign up for a free pick. Get in the system. And then most importantly, don't look at it like you're going to the fair. You don't want to be going to the fair, going to the circus, and throwing the ring toss. This is more like an investment. Look at it more like something you're actually trying to make money instead of just have a good time. And admit to yourself that you probably, if you're a doctor, a lawyer, or a truck driver, a mechanic, you're not spending a lot of time handicapping, even if you know exactly how to handicap, because you're doing other things. This is all I do. It's all I've been doing for 27 years. I have thousands of clients around the country that have found out that you can make money betting on sports. You just can't do it by guessing. So fatjacksports.com, definitely the place to go. A lot of good games in college this weekend. We didn't even talk about the Deion Sanders and Colorado deal. Colorado has more money bet on them right now than any NFL team. Consider that line didn't come out until Sunday, and the NFL lines have been up for months and months. It is a really remarkable stat going on this week. I actually like Nebraska to cover the game. Sharps are on Nebraska, general public all over Colorado. So one of the key things going on Saturday to keep your eyes on.
Well, Jack, we're looking forward to it this weekend. Lots of football action. We'll talk to you next week, and have a great weekend.
Guys, have a good time. Make lots of money if you're betting. Wager responsibly, and we'll talk to you next Friday or Thursday.
Absolutely. FatJackSports.com. You can check it out this weekend. Week 1 of the NFL underway. Week 2 of college football, as he mentioned. Very interesting game between Colorado and Nebraska coming up this weekend. Lots of money coming in on Colorado. And, it's Matt Rule, Deion Sanders. Interesting coaching matchup. I'm going to have my eyes on that one Saturday morning. Vanderbilt game will be on one screen. We'll have the Colorado-Nebraska game on the other screen, Joe. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, it's a great start to the day. And I'm not necessarily in. What's really interesting, by the way, Jack just said all this money's going on Colorado right now. I mean, I'm seeing one book has them, just -3. Do you remember what that line started at?
I want to say -2, -1.5, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Okay, so was it like Nebraska early as a
probably?
as
I'm sure Nebraska a couple weeks ago was probably the early favorite. Yeah,
yeah, but I mean, I can't get enough of this team, until they give me a reason to stop watching. So I am fascinated by that one. Really interesting stuff from him on home dogs, because I don't love at all the Colts. I need more than a touchdown to feel good about the Colts against the Jags. But you know what? That stuff does happen.
I'm loving the Packers as road dogs against the Bears. I'm just saying. I
know you are.
I'm loving it.
Yeah. Well, I like the Browns is a very interesting case in point for him. I think it's like Browns are getting 2.5 at home against the Bengals. That is a classic week 1.
Oh yeah.
In divisional rival surprise type.
So
game.
Your prediction tonight: Kansas City at home against the Detroit Lions to kick off the NFL season. Who wins? What's the score? How are things looking tonight in Kansas City?
Chiefs 63, Lions 13. That's what I'm thinking. No, I do think it'll be a good game because the equalizers of Kelsey. I don't think Kelsey will play, and then obviously Chris Jones being out. So I think we're actually going to get a good game. I'll take Mahomes with a late drive to win it like 30-26 over the Lions. How about that?
Lions win tonight. If Kelsey doesn't play and Jones doesn't play, the Lions are winning this game. They win 28-24 on the road at Arrowhead. And we talk about the Lions Super Bowl path tomorrow on the program.
I mean, Charles making it sound like this is the entire future of the Lions franchise in one game. My God. And he's trying to say that Baby Hands Pickett is better than Captain Kirk. That slander will not stand on this show anymore.
That does it for us today on Robby and Rexrode. Enjoy the first game of the NFL season tonight. The Chase and Big Joe show up next. This is 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
All the big plays.
Rebound, try out in front, and Saros covers it up.
All the big